championship winning coach with the Lakers in 2020. ESPN senior NBA writer Andre Snellings.
They got a guy who's won the Western Conference and the NBA Finals relatively recently. And, he can help build a defense to go with what should be a potent offense, starring Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. So, it's a name. So that's the first thought is they got a brand name.
Andre Snellings on Fitz and Harry, also from Woj, Utah Jazz's G League team, the Salt Lake City Stars, hiring former Marquette coach Steve Wojciechowski as head coach. He's been eager to make the leap into pro coaching. Bills pass rusher Von Miller told Channel 9 News in Denver he expects to return from an ACL injury and play in the season opener September 11th against the Jets on Monday Night Football. The White Sox reinstated starter Mike Clevenger and infielder Elvis Andrus from the injured list. Clevenger, back from a wrist injury, will start tonight against Detroit. Andrus is returning from an oblique strain.
Coming up Monday, I know we've only talked about Aaron Rodgers this offseason, but I'll give you my top 5 underhyped players going into this season. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, Monday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And welcome into a Friday edition of After Further Review presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Musso in for Moscona. Last day that I'm in for Matt. Moscona will be back on Monday. He'll be recapping everything that he missed while he was out. Hey, news. If you've had enough of SEC schedule talk this week, well, get ready. You're going to have some more of it on Monday. I can guarantee you that. And, of course, he'll recap the baseball weekend and everything. That's where we're going to start. We have a lot to get to today, obviously, but it is Regional Friday. A happy Regional Friday to everyone who celebrates, which I would imagine right now is many of you because the game is going on. LSU is up 4-0 on Tulane right now on the top of the fourth with 2 outs. Paul Skeens working a 3-2 count to Brady Marquette, who's worked a hell of an at-bat. Actually, he was down in the count, I believe 0-2 in this, or at least 1-2 in this started, and has got it back full. So, obviously, plenty of thoughts on the game so far. That'll be the first segment. For what it's worth, though, there is going to be other things today besides baseball. The most baseball talk is probably going to take place in the 5 o'clock hour because by that point, this game should be over, and it'll basically just be an hour-long LSU postgame show, pretty much from this game, looking at how it transpired, what they have left coming up in the regional, and things of that nature. But definitely wanted to spend the first full segment talking about the game, the decision to throw Paul Skeens, so we'll get to all of that as infield single for Brady Marquette to reach, so that extends the inning. Skeens was on cruise control really before that. He started the fourth inning under 40 pitches. Now he's looking like he might eclipse that. All right, so LSU starts Paul Skeens. I'll get to that momentarily, but how they've gotten the runs. You had an RBI double by Travinsky in the first inning. LSU's put runners on first and second, nobody out, the first 3 at-bats they've had. So Travinsky doubles to score 1 after Morgan had hit into a double play. You get nothing else out of that inning. It's 1-0 in the second inning. In the second inning, LSU again, first and second, nobody out. You have a sacrifice bunt from Jordan Thompson to move the runners. Josh Pearson with an RBI ground out. Then Dylan Cruz followed with an RBI double. He's 2 for 2 with a double and an RBI. That put LSU up 3-0. And then in the third inning, LSU again, first and second, nobody out. You had a sacrifice bunt from Gavin Dugas, and then an RBI ground out from Braden Joubert to make it 4-0. Jordan Thompson would strike out to end that inning. Paul Skeens would come back out, get the first 2 on strikes in the fourth, and now here you are, runner at first base, 2 outs in the fourth, 4-0 lead and a 2-2 count to Simon Baumgart, who LSU is looking to retire for the very first time this season. He was 4 for 5, but reached base all 5 times against the Tigers in the midweek game because he reached on a fielder's choice. So technically he wasn't out. It just doesn't count as an official AB. And then he singled off of Skeens earlier in this game. So he's got 5 hits against LSU. He's in a 3-2 count right now. I would very much enjoy him not reaching base again against LSU ever. It's an annoying sight. to see number 14 in green and white, and he struck out looking. So that's punch out number 8 for Paul Skeens. He struck out the side, and that's a perfect segue into talk about why LSU might have started him today. Here's the thing. I will never understand the decision to start Paul Skeens today. I just won't. I don't agree with the decision to start Paul Skeens today. I don't like the decision to start Paul Skeens today. Not my choice. Jay Johnson makes $2 million. I mean, it's why he makes the money is to make these decisions. And I'm well aware of that. These things, and I've seen a bunch of different responses since this decision was made public at around 12:30. I've seen a bunch of different responses. Some of them frustrating to see. Others make you think. It's all good dialect. That's what you want. That's what a decision like this gives you. I will never understand it. And here's why I will never understand it. My preference as a number 1 seed in a regional always is to hold your ace for game 2. A better way to say it is hold your ace for Saturday. Because Saturday is the most important day in a regional for a lot of reasons. Number 1, you're either playing to go 2-0 and get into the championship game and sit in the catbird seat and have someone have to beat you twice. Or number 2, you're playing to avoid elimination. Like Saturday is the pivotal day in a regional, provided you don't get to a game 7 Monday night. But by that point, nobody's on their top arms anymore and whatever. So Saturday is the pivotal game. As a number 1 seed, you have the luxury, and I always prefer to hold your best guy. It's a matter of preference. That's why I will never understand this decision, because it's not what I would ever do. I've seen a lot of people say, well, if you can't beat Oregon State and Sam Houston State with Ty Floyd or Thatcher Hurd, you weren't going to win anything anyway. And again, that's not the point. That's not the point that I'm getting at with this. Ty Floyd is going to start tomorrow. I'd be shocked at this point if Ty Floyd doesn't start. What Jay has shown you is they're just going on their regular rotation now. Ty Floyd is more than capable of beating Oregon State or Sam Houston. He can do it. But when I look at it, again, I look at the most pivotal day and having the best pitcher in college baseball go on that day. I look at Oregon State. I look at Sam Houston State. I see 2 very good offenses that I would rather have my best arm go against those offenses. It has nothing to do with the fact that I think Ty Floyd can't do it. Of course he can. I spent this entire week telling you I wanted Ty Floyd to start the championship game because I felt most comfortable with him in that role outside of Skeens, pitching you to a championship. What he's been the last few months has established him. So it's not about him not being able to do it. It's about a strategy that you can enact. You could have thrown Ty Floyd today and had Skeens there, and I would have been okay with that. I have spent the entire week, though, telling you I thought when you look at Tulane, who got hot 1 week out of the year. They got hot 1 week out of the year, y'all. I know this game is not over, but right now they have looked overmatched, okay? They've gotten hot so far 1 week out of the year. And until they come back and win this game or anything like that, that's what it is. Until they prove otherwise, that's what it is. There has never been a team with 40 losses in the NCAA tournament. Tulane is that. They're 19-40. You could. This was the perfect opportunity to pitch around. That's why I said, throw your 3, who's been really good over the last month of the season, and that gives you the best chance to sweep through this regional. That's not what they chose to do, and I will never understand it. I can get where people are coming from, where you say Tulane's hot coming in, pitch that, do this. I don't think it was that. I don't. Jay might tell you that. I'm not really going to buy that. I'll just be honest. I think they have been so set in routine this year, and it's worked out well for them for the majority. They've been so set in routine. Paul Skeens is so set in his routine. They've heard so much about recovery and things of that with him. That led more to this decision than them being like, hey, we got to go out there and make sure we beat Tulane. Because the caveat to this, Paul Skeens is mowing Tulane down right now. He's got 8 punch outs in 4 innings. The caveat to this is what LSU's doing offensively. they've scored 4 runs. This is the first inning now in the bottom of the 4th that they have not put runners at first and second and nobody out. They're just better. They're just better. It goes on preference. My preference is not this. And because of that, I will just never understand it. I'm not telling you LSU can't still win this regional. Of course they can. And I think Jay Johnson knows that. I think he believes they can. And probably fairly easily if he's going to pitch Paul Skeens against a 40-loss team. But you've just seen it done so many times. I mean, I don't want to say I'm surprised because I'm not surprised. It's something that honestly I thought was possible. I just didn't think they would. I didn't really think they'd do it. But it does track with everything Jay has said all season. And I mean, they treat every game like a playoff game, like it's an elimination game, even when it's not. My thing is, it's the one round of the NCAA tournament where if you're the 4 seed, you have the luxury of pitching off. And I think it comes down to you trying to win a regional or are you trying to win a game, in a sense, most times. This is one of those times where you just, I don't know. You didn't need to pitch the number one pitcher in the country against a 40-loss team. You didn't need to. They chose to. It's going great. I mean, 'cause of course it is. And hopefully I just have really no reason to believe that it won't continue. The other thing I have to address with this, because this has driven me nuts all day today. I will be honest. This thought process has driven me insane. Well, get up big and pull him, and you can use him Monday. That's never going to happen. Stop. Skip Burtman used to do it with Ben McDonald all the time. It's not 1989. It's 2023. The game has changed. This is coming from people who have just pissed and moaned all year about arm injuries on this team. And Wes Johnson, and oh God, he's the Antichrist when it comes to injuring pitchers. They won't even let Paul Skeens hit for fear of injury. He's not pitching twice in a weekend ever. The only time they might even consider it this year is if the national title is on the line, and I still don't think they would even do it then. That's just how it goes. And again, keep in mind, he's a creature of routine, of recovery, of all of that. So stop. He's throwing 100 and some odd pitches today. The hope is he gets you deep into this ball game and you're up big and you can throw Blake Money or Christian Little or Sam Dutton or somebody like that, get the last few outs and have everybody ready to go next week. That's the thinking. Again, I don't understand it, but that's their thinking. I can see what they want to do. It just, for me, it goes against my preference, and I don't understand. I don't understand it. I don't ever agree with it. It doesn't mean anything. I think Jay Johnson's a great head coach. I think he's going to win a lot of games. He already has won a lot of games at LSU. I still think they have a good chance to win this regional. I just would have gone about it a different way, and I think this opens you up. Doing this, I think, opens you up to a little bit more peril throughout the weekend. Can you still win it? Sure. We've seen LSU's bullpen bend and not break all year long, and the offense pick up the slack. It's been a formula they've won with a lot. It's been a formula that I think is pretty sustainable. But I think you had a path in this regional to go through it kind of without that, and I thought that would have been Hurd, Skeens, Floyd. They went a different way. They can still win it. I still expect them to win it. It just might come with a little bit more peril than potentially it needed to. Maybe not. We'll see. But Paul Skeens is not pitching again this weekend, so stop that. It's not 1989. It's not 1996. It's not. Game is different. So, perfect example. The other kid for Tulane, Castro. When we had Corey Glore on here yesterday previewing the Wave, he mentioned him, in the American tournament, starting 2 games and then getting the save. And he even said that is so far out of character in college baseball now that we were all shocked to see it because it's just how it goes. All right. LSU went quietly in the 4th inning. Dylan Cruz singled. He's 3 for 3. He's back. That's great to see. 9-game hitting streak for Dylan Cruz, by the way. The guy that we all were like, man, he's slumping. He's just created such an unfair standard. I mean, he's just created such an unfair standard. He's He's awesome. So Skeens is back out for his 5th inning of work. It's 4-0 LSU. We're going to grab a break, come back, and we'll discuss who might LSU get on the football schedule. We know the date when we'll find out the opponents. Who might some of them be? That's next on AFR. And, of course, we'll keep you posted on the game as we go throughout and then pretty much have a post-game show for the last hour. Musso in for Moscona. Stay here.
AFR.
Buying or selling commercial or residential, call Darren James and get your home sold. A lot of people think, you know what, I'm just going to do the for sale by owner route. Save the commissions. Well, a couple things. Number one, commissions are negotiable. If you're not aware of that, no matter who you hire to be your realtor, commissions are negotiable. So negotiate commissions. Darren encourages that, by the way. Also, 73%, nearly 3 out of 4 people that list their home for sale by owner end up hiring a realtor for a variety of reasons. Maybe it's not exactly sure how to price your home. Maybe you just can't be home for the showings at all times. That's why you got to hire Darren James. On the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1% of realtors in America. Why would you hire anyone other than the best? You wouldn't. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah.
You don't know what you're doing.
Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this Wall Street.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
after further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. They will always find a way to get you the best possible price for the best possible tires on the road. That's what they do at Shawbills. And when they get you in by selling you the best tires at the cheapest price possible, they're going to treat you like family, and they're going to treat you so good you're going to keep coming back year after year after year every time you need anything for your vehicle. Tires rotated, oil changed, check engine light on, brakes squeaking, whatever's wrong with your vehicle, bring it to Shawbills. Let them give it the once-over. And you can always schedule online, so it's convenient. ShawbillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Shop tires online at ShawbillsTire.com. Be sure to ask about the Shawbills credit card as well, because you can save $50 off your first purchase when you use the Shawbills credit card only at Shawbills.
Paul Skeens proving that pitchers are, in fact, athletes in the top half of the fifth to close it out. After, of course, he had I'm not listening to the game. I believe they ruled that a hit. I'd have to see the box score. It was either a hit or an error. It doesn't matter. You had a runner on base, and he gets an out, and then a hot shot about maybe 4 feet off the ground, and he catches it in between his legs and doubles the runner off at first. So, yes, in fact, pitchers are athletes, as Paul Skeens proves it. Hayden Chervinsky with a 3-0 count here in the bottom of the fifth. All right. So yesterday, the big news that we had all been waiting for out of SEC spring meetings. Really the news we've been waiting for 2 years, ever since Texas and Oklahoma announced they were going to join the SEC. What's the schedule going to look like? You heard so much about 9 games. It's going to be 9 games. They're going to play 3 permanent, 6 rotating. It's going to be great. And then, about 2-3 days before SEC meetings convene, you heard Ross Dellinger and at SI break the news that, actually 9 games probably ain't going to happen anymore. It's probably going to be a temporary 8-game solution. So they had their vote yesterday, and as you know by now, of course, the SEC is going to play a temporary 1-year, 8-game schedule, eliminating divisions, where your top 2 teams will go to Atlanta for the championship game. You'll play 1 permanent opponent and 7 rotating opponents. More on that, because I have thoughts. Greg Sankey explained all of this on the Paul Feinbaum show yesterday. And after he did that, the obvious follow-up is, okay, what's next? Since this is just temporary, what's next in the scheduling saga? This is what Greg Sankey said.
We obviously have the need to make a long-term strategic decision. And while we continue to go through those various considerations, we think about non-conference scheduling, we think about our own conference scheduling, we think about the playoff, we think about bowl eligibility. This emerged really as the right interim step. In a way, with the input from our schools, we're going to plan to honor many of our key rivalries. I think those are obvious, and we'll announce the matchups of the games on the SEC network on June 14th.
Okay, so they're going to continue to work forward toward a plan where they can hopefully get to 9, more of a long-term solution. Until then, they're going to do what we just talked about to start this, right? They're going to play the 8 games, 1 permanent, 7 rotating, yada, yada, yada. They'll announce it on June 15th. They're going to try to preserve rivalries as best they can, all those things. So now that we know, here comes the question. Who does LSU get? We'll know for sure on June 15th, but it wouldn't hurt to take a stab at it, right? So let's do that. And this is where I'll talk about the 1 permanent, 7 rotating aspect of this temporary 1-year, 8-game model, because that is crap. They can easily preserve rivalries for 1 year in their so-called 1 game, 1 permanent, 7 rotate. Okay, your 1 permanent's your traditional rivalry or whatever they say. Like, let's take Alabama, for example. Their 1 game traditional rivalry is going to be Auburn, the Iron Bowl. Well, what about their other their other rotating games? Well, they're going to try to preserve all their rivalries. So one of them's going to be Tennessee and one of them's going to be LSU. It's the whole reason Alabama voted no on this, by the way. The whole reason they did it. Don't let Nick Saban or anyone else at Alabama tell you differently. They voted no to 9 games because Nick publicly came out months ago and said, I don't know how you arrive at us playing LSU, Auburn, and Alabama in the same season, which, again, is crap. He knows how you get to that. Auburn's the Iron Bowl. That game's going nowhere. We've had to deal with a crappy schedule format for years anyway because of the third Saturday in October. And LSU Alabama brings more eyeballs to the league than any other game on the schedule all season long. It's not going anywhere. So you're just going to probably have that again, right? You got to think how they're doing this and how they run and how they come to that. So the SEC for their 9-game schedule that they wanted to do, and that they still want to do, by the way, they split the league into 2 halves based off of winning percentages over the last 10 years. For Oklahoma and Texas, you use their Big 12. Fair or not, it's what you do. It's the only thing you can do. So the top half of the league gets 2 teams from the top half, 1 team from the bottom. It's the inverse for the bottom. They get 2 from the bottom and one from the top. Technically, Tennessee's in the bottom, so Alabama would end up with them. But now that they're good, they don't really want that. What would it be for LSU? Well, LSU's going to get Alabama. But that's going to happen. For some reason, they believe that this A&M game is a rivalry that must be protected at all costs when it's not. It's just not. The LSU Texas A&M game being a rivalry is something that has been forced since A&M came into the league. It grew legs for 2 seasons in 2018 because of the crappy 7 overtime game, and then LSU had revenge on their mind in 19 and just skunked A&M. They skunked everybody in 19, but A&M especially. That's really the only 2 years it's ever felt special. But they're going to protect that for some reason, and that's going to be one of LSU's as well. And I think the other one's Ole Miss. A&M and Bama are in the top half of the league, and then Ole Miss. That's what it looked like it was going to be for the three permanent and the 6 rotating. I'd be shocked if it was anything different when they go to this, because the concept of 7 rotating for 1 year doesn't exist. Like, that literally makes no sense. It's 1 year you can't rotate. So they're just going to pick and choose. It's going to look very similar. I'd be surprised if LSU doesn't play Florida in 2024. One thing I'd like to see on LSU's schedule, and it's not going to do them any favors from a competition standpoint maybe, but I'd like to see Texas on it in 2024 too, because they've never returned the trip from 19 because you had COVID. So I'd actually like to see that. But I don't see LSU's schedule being much different. But if you want my opinion, I think you're going to get Bama, Ole Miss, and A&M for sure, because those were going to be your 3 when they were going to go to a 9 game. And I still think that's going to be the case. And it just wouldn't surprise me if you still see Florida. Arkansas, battle for the boot might still end up being on there because you're going to have air quotes, rotation. So that part really doesn't change for me. We'll see if we nail it on June 14th. The interesting thing for LSU in 2024, aside from that, is they have to find another non-conference opponent now. Just to prove how close the SEC probably really thought they were to getting 9 games this year, LSU had moved Rice off the schedule for 2024 and kept USC, UCLA, and South Alabama because they thought they were probably going to have 9 conference games. So now they have to go find another non-conference opponent. Could they do someone in state? Sure, that might be the easiest avenue. Go get ULM. See if ULM's got an opening and just schedule them. Does Nichols have an opening? Southeastern, Northwestern State, whatever. Schedule them. But to me, that's more interesting than who LSU gets from an SEC standpoint, because I think I've kind of a pretty good idea who it's going to be. And it's for 1 year anyway, or at least it's supposed to be for 1 year anyway. But they have a whole non-conference wise that they have to fill now. We'll see how they do it. We'll know for sure who the opponents are in the SEC June 14th. It's a bummer they couldn't get this settled because teams like Alabama and others just voted no, and really they had no actual reason to vote no. But that's what they did. All right, Getting set to grab a break here. LSU got the first two runners on in the fifth inning. Shocker. First and third. Gavin Dugas with a sac fly to center field. Plates Hayden Chervinsky. LSU now up 5-0. Tulane has gone to their bullpen. They did that after the first two runners reached. Excuse me. Easy for you to say. So Dylan Carmouche's day is, well, actually, technically it's not done. That run gets charged to him, and he's still responsible for the runner on first. But he's out of the game. Michael Lombardi now in the game for Tulane. He's facing Braden Joubert again, 1 out and a runner on first. Tigers up 5-0. Grab a break. Come back on the other side. We'll go around the SEC, catch you up on everything else happening in the NCAA tournament today around the conference and what's to come. That's next for Around the SEC on AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You know what to do. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, get Gordon and get it done. Do what injured people in Louisiana have done for more than 3 decades. Let Gordon recover the damages for you, him and his amazing team of attorneys, to make sure that you were treated fairly. Get Gordon and get it done. You can always call if you'd rather talk to somebody, 888-8888, 888-8888, or go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. And yes, obviously, we want people who are listening, who have been injured, who need representation to call Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. But I always love telling you also about Gordon the person and about all the great things that Gordon and his firm do in our community. It's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you go check out Gordon's social media, would highly recommend, by the way, you follow Gordon on all the social media platforms. You can see Gordon with Port Allen Elementary School on the final day. You can see more about the G team. It's all there. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-7...
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Game 1 of the NBA Finals is in the rearview mirror, but this amazing offer from DraftKings is still staring you right in the face. The NBA Finals are here, and you can get in the action with the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the promo code Baton Rouge, make a $5 bet on the NBA Finals, and you will get $200 in bonus bets instantly at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Of course, all customers can take a shot at stepped-up same-game parlays. Game 2 is Sunday. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Do it right now. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. New customers make a $5 bet on the NBA Finals and get $200 in bonus bets instantly at the DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Opt-in and 10-plus leg required for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Licensing partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-253.
All right, you close the book on Dylan Carmouche now. Josh Pearson with a sack fly scores Beloso. So Tigers get Dylan Carmouche for 6 earned runs. Now Michael Lombardi responsible for everybody remaining on the base paths. First and second, 2 outs. Bottom of the 5th, Dylan Cruz up, looking to go 4 for 4 with a hit here, and that would actually also put him probably put him above Rafe Rhymes' record again. He's at 429 now. We'll see what he can do. Wow. Yeah, you know what? I got to go around the SEC here momentarily, but I will say this. The strike that was just called on Dylan Cruz, while it wasn't a strike, I'm happy to see it because it's the college strike zone. And we haven't seen that hardly at all because of the SEC this year. That's what it's supposed to look like in college. Just about half a ball off the plate. He hit his spot and gets the call. That's how this is supposed to go in college baseball. So Cruz down 0-2. We'll see if he can fight back there. But in the meantime, and no, it's a fielder's choice. 4-6. Tigers get 2 more in that inning, though. They're up 6-0, and Skeens will head back to the bump. 6 runs on 10 hits. Really nice offensive output so far for LSU. All right, let's get you caught up on what's going on around the rest of the SEC here with, around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Excellence in imaging solutions.
All right, let's see. 1-game final so far in the NCAA tournament. That was Kentucky. 4-0 winners over Ball State. Obviously, that is significant because that's the game, I should say the super regional that LSU is paired with. Kentucky, it was tough sledding for the Wildcats a little bit. Scoreless through 3, tacked on 1 in the 4th on a solo homer, would add 3 in the bottom of the 8th to get to that 4-0 victory. So they are into the winner's bracket there in Lexington. Games in progress aside from LSU up 6-0 on Tulane. There is action in Fayetteville, Arkansas. The Hogs tied 2-2 with Santa Clara in the bottom of the 4th inning right now. Santa Clara got on top 2-0 in the top half of the first. Arkansas started Hunter Holland, saving Hagen Smith for the next day. The Hogs, though, have plated 2 in the bottom of the 4th. Second trip through the lineup. And here comes Arkansas. Action still to come. For in the SEC tonight. Florida hosting the Gainesville Regional. They will welcome in FAMU for the 1-4 matchup there. Jack Caglione going to get the ball for the Gators. Tennessee, they are in Clemson. They're the nightcap of that regional as the 2 seed. They host, they face Charlotte in that game. And I believe it's Lindsey pitching for Tennessee. I know it's not Dolander, but I believe it's Lindsey. South Carolina, the 15th overall seed, they will host Central Connecticut State tonight. The 1-4 matchup in Columbia. Gamecocks looking to get off to a good start in that regional. Auburn, the 20th ranked team in the country. They're going to welcome in Penn in the second game of the Auburn Regional, the 1-4 matchup there, as the Tigers look to get off to a hot start on the Plains. Alabama, the 16th seed in the country, underseeded. They will host Nichols tonight, the 1-4 matchup there. That game goes at 6 p.m. Central Time. Vanderbilt, the 7th overall seed in the country, welcomes in Eastern Illinois, the 1-4 matchup in Nashville. That goes at 7 p.m. Central Time on the SEC Network. And then the Texas A&M Aggies. They are the 2 seed out, the 2 seed out in Stanford. They host Cal State Fullerton tonight. Not a gimme there, man. Fullerton had a really nice year. It wouldn't surprise me at all if that actually ended up being Fullerton-Stanford in the final. They played a whale of a series earlier this year. But Texas A&M, man, they are a trendy pick to get hot and make a run back to Omaha this year. Actually, they're going to have to go through a tough Pac-12 team in Stanford and a tough Big Sky team, Big West team in Fullerton as well. All right, that is Around the SEC. It's brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. Wow. Every day here on AFR, they bring you Around the SEC. Okay, we're just going to move on from that. Thanks to Gulf Coast Office Products. Going to grab a break here momentarily as my stream has crashed that I was watching the LSU baseball game on. Let's remedy that, ESPNU. I don't think we get, Paul, do you know if we get ESPNU in this? We don't? That's a bummer. I didn't think we did. That's why I just prepared to watch it on stream today. But it needs to work. I'm missing Paul Skeen's mow down pitchers. All right, we're going to grab a break. Come back on the other side. So yesterday, you might remember, we talked a little bit about expansion in the Big 12 and how Colorado was just openly flirting with the Big 12 and talking about leaving the Pac-12. There's even a report from the Oklahoman that Colorado was ready to join, like just say the okay, and they're ready to join the Big 12. Well, Big 12 meetings wrapped up today, and expansion was talked about in the way you think, but there's a new caveat to this that I want to mention to close the hour next. So we'll do that. It's Friday's AFR. We're presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Musso in for Moscona. We'll close the hour next with Big 12 expansion, and then Terrio's coming. Well, not in studio, but he's going to call in for a couple segments. We'll have some fun. Can't wait to get his thoughts on Paul Skeen's starting this baseball game today, and just see how Ryan has seen what he's seen today and how the rest of the weekend shakes out as well. So that's at the top of next hour. But Big 12 expansion wraps us up. Hour number 1, AFR on a Friday, next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Give them a buzz today, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Tell you every day to look for the big yellow vans and trucks with a giant clock on the side. You can't miss them, and you'll see a technician that's expertly trained, ready to treat you right, like they did for Regina Bornslater, who sent this 5-star review, said, the air conditioner vent in my room had not been blowing air in 2 years. River City's 1 Hour came out, adjusted something. I got air in my room that day. I'm so thankful. They did a great job. I appreciate River City's 1 Hour Air. Another 5-star Google review for River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. You can get the preseason AC tune-up. If your AC's not keeping up, call River City's 1 Hour Air. Nights, holidays, weekends, they'll never charge you extra to come out. 752-0001.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off, plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on all new 22 Ford F-150 SCA trucks, and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A brazen and callous drive-by shooting caught on camera in Plaquemine. Nearly 40 shots fired. Unfortunately, the shooter's aim was so bad, no one was hurt. Tonight, one man is in custody, and the search for 2 others continues. Why neighbors are saying the gunfire and bad behavior has them living on edge. Hear what the sheriff has to say about it. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you. At front.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, final segment here. First hour on a Friday. Musso in for Moscona. Scone's back next month. I was going to say next Monday, but this Monday. He's back on Monday. It's just the easiest way to say that. So, obviously, yesterday, if you were here, we talked a little bit about Big 12 expansion and the possibility of that because of Colorado. Colorado has just openly for several months, per sources, Dennis Dodd was the one who wrote the story at CBS Sports. For several months, Colorado's just openly been talking with the Big 12 about a return to that league, where obviously they were a legacy member. They were part of every iteration of the Big, right? Big 7, the Big 8, and the Big 12. And ultimately they left for the Pac-12 years ago, and we got into all of that yesterday. Well, today, Big 12 spring meetings wrapped up. And in doing so, Heather Dinich wrote a great piece at ESPN where she explained that expansion was a big topic at Big 12 spring meetings. It's important to note that the Big 12 is adding 4 members already in time for football season this year, right? That's BYU, Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF. They're going to be in the Big 12 this season for football. What I originally thought whenever I saw this article and was like, okay, let's click on this, see what this is about. I thought it was going to kind of further the conversation about Colorado leaving the Pac-12, joining the Big 12. That wasn't necessarily the case. So it has you think about expansion in a much different light. Another important note is there was no there was no votes on expansion here at all. They are happy right now where they are with the membership adding BYU, Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF. But what Brett Yormark, the Big 12 commissioner, said on Friday, that the conference has a, quote, plan when it comes to expansion, and they're still open to continue to explore all options and considerations at this point in time. And this is where it got interesting. A reporter asked Brett Yormark after Big 12 spring meetings today about the possibility of Gonzaga or another school joining the conference as a basketball-only member, which is interesting. That's something that I really have never thought about. Now, there's a couple ways that would work in essence. When I say work, I mean work out for what the Big 12 wants. In essence, Brett Yormark has made it very clear he wants a team in this league in every time zone. That would certainly accomplish that, going all the way up to Spokane, Washington. But basketball only is the kicker there. You see something similar, right, with like Notre Dame. Notre Dame plays basketball in the ACC. The only the only sport I should say Notre Dame is not in a conference in is football. So, I mean, like something like this you see happen where teams play in other conferences in different sports throughout. There's multiple schools that play in different leagues per different sports, mind you. I mean, UConn still plays. Pretty sure UConn still plays in the Big East in some things. But I think basketball only is a little complicated there. For what it's worth, long way to get around to say this. His answer was, quote, "We do see the upside in basketball moving forward for all the right reasons. We think it's undervalued, and there's a chance for us to double down as the number one basketball conference in America, but football is the driver, and we all know that. As we think about the future and ways to create value, there is always the option to decouple basketball from football to see if there's further value we can create in the conference." Y'all, when Brett Yormark tells you that they're open to all options, they're open to all options. For what it's worth, a source told ESPN that UConn and Gonzaga were, quote, certainly talked about in the meetings. This takes conference realignment to just a whole new level. For one, it makes it a lot more confusing, right? You have to worry about teams being in being in other conferences for different sports and things of that nature more similarly. And what does that, what does that look for? Would you really just bring them in only basketball, or would you bring in baseball? Would you bring in women's basketball as well, or is it just men's basketball? There's a lot that goes into that. I found it interesting because the Big 12 certainly seems to be at the forefront of all of this right now. The SEC adds Texas and Oklahoma, and it was large thought that the Big 12 was kind of just going to fade off into the background and maybe cease to exist. They stuck their foot in the ground and have planted their flag that they aren't going anywhere. They're looking for all types of ways to stay afloat, to more than stay afloat, to stay relevant. And if they can get schools like Colorado and then subsequently Arizona State, and Utah to come over from the Pac-12 eventually, and if they do add somebody like Gonzaga or UConn, the reigning national champion UConn Huskies in men's basketball, to the league as a basketball-only participant, that's going to create even bigger revenue opportunities. You got to think, the other revenue sport that makes money is men's basketball in the NCAA. Speaking of revenue, so this has been the other interesting part of this. We had told you what had been reported a lot was that the Pac-12, with their non-existent media rights deal, needs to get a new one. Like that needs to happen. They need to get a new one. Otherwise, teams are going to start looking elsewhere. And in order to do that, even if they get a new one, it has to be on par with the Big 12's, which means $31.7 million distributed annually to schools. That's what's going to happen under the Big 12's new media rights deal. For what it's worth, Yormark also said today at this news conference that the conference will equally distribute a record $440 million to 10 members from last year. So Oklahoma and Texas are part of that, which is why it's part of the record. But each Big 12 school is getting $44 million this year. If they can continue to drive up revenue by maybe adding basketball only or something, and I'm not saying it's going to drive up what football would. Obviously, it's not, and that's what Yormark says too, right? It's football's the driver, and we know that. But if you're able to at least increase past the Pac-12 even more, and they can't reach that level, like if you could take your 31.7 and get it a little higher, that only helps you expansion-wise if you're the Big 12. Just something to keep an eye on. It's interesting. The basketball portion of that is not something I was really ready for when I clicked on that article. But it's it's obviously something they've thought about. How about that? Gonzaga potentially in the Big 12. That'd be, at least for basketball, that'd be wild. And maybe even UConn. What a statement that would be made. No votes, but those two teams were talked about specifically as basketball-only members in the Big 12 at Big 12 meetings. All right, we're going to grab a break. Come back on the other side, Sports Center, and then Terrio is going to hop on for a couple segments. Definitely want to get his thoughts on baseball for sure so far as Paul Skeens works here in the top of the seventh inning, 2-1 count, 2 outs. He's at 88 pitches. He's already at double-digit strikeouts once again, so it looks like he'll get through 7 and possibly come out for the 8th inning. If what Jay Johnson wanted him to do was go way deep in this game and save your bullpen for the rest of the weekend, the mission has been accomplished with that so far. All right, Musso in for Moscona. Keep you updated on the game, obviously, if you're listening and not watching. But right now, Sports Center and then Terrio next to start hour 2 here on Friday's AFR.
AFR.
Remind you about South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. That's southpointvw.com. Get on by, test drive any of their line of vehicles over at South Point. Remember, I tell you all the time, 9 different IIHS top safety picks. It's the highest safety designation a vehicle can get. It's one of the reasons I love driving my Volkswagen is I know every time I put Drew in his car seat and I'm driving, I'm in one of the safest vehicles on the road. Erica drives a Volkswagen. Every time she leaves the house in her car, I know she's driving one of the safest vehicles on the road. And by the way, they're stylish and affordable and fun to drive. It's at South Point Volkswagen. Remember, the all-electric, first electric SUV for everyone, the Volkswagen ID4. You can make your reservation right now at southpointvw.com. It's South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home, live Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Suns set to land Frank Vogel as their new head coach, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. Phoenix offered him the job this morning. The side's in the process of finalizing a 5-year contract. This will be the 4th head coaching job for Vogel after previous stops with the Pacers, Magic, and Lakers, a team he won an NBA title with in 2020. A promise from Miami's Jimmy Butler. Following the loss to Denver, Game 1 NBA Finals, Butler vows to attack the basket more, believes he'll respond to the initial setback and set a better tone in Game 2. ESPN NBA play-by-play announcer Mike Breen.
Butler is the type that he reads what the defense is giving him. So if you're throwing double teams at him, he's not going to force the issue offensively. But there's no question he has to be more aggressive looking for a shot. For them to be such a talented team like Denver, he's got to be aggressive, and that's what you would expect from him in Game 2.
Mike Breen on Fitz and Harry. Game 2 is Sunday, 7 Eastern, ESPN Radio, 8 Eastern on ABC. As the Red Sox await the results of pitcher Chris Sale's MRI, manager Alex Cora told reporters today he'll miss at least his next start, and the injured list is a possibility.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And welcome back in. Hour number 2 of AFR on a Friday, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Musso in for Moscona. Moscona's back on Monday. Grant Lanero, Paul O'Neill along for the ride as well. Keeping an eye here on LSU's opener in the Baton Rouge Regional. Tigers up 6-2 now on the Tulane Green Wave. Tulane with a 2-run home run off of Paul Skeens there in the top of the 7th inning to cut into LSU's lead and finally get on the board. Tigers... I should say Skeens, excuse me, gets through 7 innings on 97 pitches, so I would fully expect him to come back out for the top of the 8th inning. I think if you would have asked Jay Johnson, the thing he would have wanted going with Skeens today was at least 8 innings out of him. He's in position to do that. The interesting caveat with that now is only up by 4, and that's just right now. I mean, LSU has plenty of time to score. They're into the Tulane bullpen. But only up 4 instead of 6. Now, what do you do towards the end of the game when Skeens is done after 8? I think what everybody had hoped was you'd be up by at least 6 or maybe a few more runs than that, and you could go to maybe a little bit one of your one of the guys you just used to eat up innings. And have been great at that this year, like a Blake Money or somebody like that. 4-run lead, you might be pushing it a little bit doing that. That's one swing. You load the bases, you get to one swing, and it can get you. For me, I'll tell you what I would do. I'd go to Riley Cooper. Riley's been really good down the stretch here so far for LSU, and the guy's got a rubber arm. I mean, isn't it just that? I mean, kind of that simple. He's got Riley Cooper's pitched 3 times in a weekend before. Like he can absolutely just bounce back, no questions asked, early. And if you only need 3 outs from him, okay. I mean, like that's what I would do. We'll see what they do. Hopefully they just score a few more runs and really kind of distance themselves here, and you don't have to go down that road and everything goes completely according to plan, like Jay drew it up with Paul Skeens getting the start today. Trying to connect with Ryan Terrio here. He's supposed to be joining us in these segments here. If we can't get him this one, we'll definitely get him before the show is over. LSU so far in the 7th, fairly quiet. A couple weak outs from Beloso and then from Gavin Dugas, Braden Jobert at the plate now with a 1-2 count. I was just sitting there saying, and it's Joe Bear strikes out swinging in the inning. I was just sitting there saying that maybe LSU had hoped and wanted to be up by more than 4 runs at this point. But and again, look, credit Michael Lombardi. He's pitched pretty well out of the Tulane bullpen, got him out of the biggest jam that they had been all game, and has put up a couple zeros since then against the LSU offense. But for that, I mean, I've actually really liked what we've seen from LSU's offense in this ball game. I mean, they're looking at 6 runs on 10 hits. That's solid. That came through 5 innings too. I mean, so like the pace you were on was awesome. You just credit Lombardi. But when you look at where they were after the final 2 games of the SEC tournament, where they really struggled with runners in scoring position. And if you look at the average today with runners in scoring position, not great. But LSU's done a great job of manufacturing runs in this ball game today. I mean, we opened the show talking a lot about the small ball that they've actually played. And you've seen production come without the benefit of a hit. You've seen a good bit of RBI ground outs. You've had a sac fly. They've done a really, really nice job of manufacturing runs. I think, again, I don't have it in front of me. I could get it here momentarily. But just judging off of what I've watched, LSU might have 2-3 hits with runners in scoring position today. That's it. But they scored 6 runs. So the manufacturing of runs has been great. And look, that's something you need in postseason play. It's great to go out there, bludgeon everybody, and I think LSU is going to score their fair share of runs. Don't get me wrong, but the ability to manufacture runs is certainly important. What on earth is this? I'm trying to pull up the live stats. Oh, good Lord. We have to deal with the NCAA's version of this now. That's just awful. Oh, gosh. I just absolutely loathe the NCAA's insistence on taking everything over when it comes to regionals and super regionals and the College World Series. College World Series, fine. You want to do it then, fine. Why can't LSU use the same live stat page they've used the entire year? Like, why is that a problem? God, that is stupid. Got a shot of the LSU bullpen. I see Nate Ackenhausen, Gavin Guidry, Thatcher Hurd, Blake Money. That's interesting. Paul Skeen's back out there. He's at 100 pitches right now, 0-2 count to the first batter that he's facing. But I mean, look, that's you're in that position right now when you don't have the lead that I think many expected you to. Although again, like I said, I think you've actually played pretty well offensively throughout the game. I was gonna try to figure out exactly how many hits they had with runners in scoring position, but the NCAA's taking over everything, and you have to freaking use their stat page, and their stat page sucks. And I need time to actually look for it. I'm not going to do that while I'm live on air because that's going to be horrible radio. So maybe we'll have that when we come back from break. That's just really, really stupid that you have to do that. Paul Skeens, man. Pitch number 102 was 99 miles an hour. It's just absurd. So he's going through the bottom third of the order, too. That's another reason you obviously put him out there for the 8th inning. That's a fly ball to left field. That looks like it's probably going to be caught. Okay, here's the question now. If Skeens gets out of this, so his season high on the year is 117 pitches. He's at 102 right now. If he gets out of this under 110, do you run him back out there for the 9th inning? I mean, you've burned him. You kind of might as well. I wouldn't be totally opposed to that if that's the way LSU intends to go. But that's going to be something I'm very interested in because he'd have to go through the top of the order because I mean now you're at the 9-hole hitter right now if you're Skeens and LSU going through this lineup. So that is something to talk about, and that'd be a 4th or 5th trip through the lineup for Skeens, which is interesting. But from a pitch count standpoint, he'd absolutely be able to do it. And look, I mean, again, if you're going to burn him, and you already have, and you're pitching him against the 4 seed, get every last ounce you can out of him and save your bullpen for the rest of the week. That's your thought. He's got this hitter down 1-2. He's had 106 pitches, and earlier Paul Skeens caught one between his legs. He didn't catch that one. Okay. Now you go to the top of the order. I think this is his last inning at this point now. 107 pitches going to the top of the order. This is probably his last inning. But it was a fun conversation to have for a hot minute there. That's what this is about. That's you go companion show for a segment or two here, and you just talk through the game as it unfolds. And that was something that kind of popped in the head there. So we're gonna grab a break, though. Come back on the other side. Try to link up with Terrio. We'll see if we can get that done. LSU leading 6-2 with 2 outs in the 8th inning, and Tulane has a runner on first base. We'll be back after this. Friday's AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine in or carry out. 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. My goodness, there's something going on at Pluckers every night of the week. What more could you possibly want? How about sandwiches? Well, they've got those. What about salads? Pluckers actually has really underrated salads. Giant, gorgeous, fresh salads. You can actually eat healthy at Pluckers. Or you could just binge. Award-winning jumbo chicken wings tossed in your favorite sauce. You want to create your own menu item? Do it. They encourage the creativity. Great sides as well, like the cheese fries, the El Guapo dip, maybe the homemade blue cheese potato chips, holy macaroni, fried pickles. They got it all at Pluckers. Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. The best place to watch the game, which game? Any game, is at Pluckers, because you can eat wings, drink beer, and watch sports on TV. Remember, at Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on all new 22 Ford F-150 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
We're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood.
after further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Always a pleasure to tell you about our friends at the Williamson Eye Center. Check them out online at williamsoneye.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, I mean, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right. And then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first 2 floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having. But they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at williamsoneye.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. WilliamsonEye.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
All right, so interesting development here with the game. Paul Skeens got into a little bit of trouble there in the top of the 8th, but got out of it. Got the 2-hole hitter, 2 flyouts to right field, ultimately to end the inning. You had action in the bullpen as Thompson singles to right field to start the 8th. LSU would love runs right here, by the way. Insurance runs would be massive for the Tigers. And while we were kind of talking through it, and we saw the guys on the, in the pen, we were like, okay, well, there's Hurd, there's Ackenhausen, there's Guidry, and Blake Money was down there as well. When Skeens got into trouble, you saw Pearson's digging into the box. You saw Hurd and Ackenhausen starting to get loose. So, and for what it's worth now that they got out of that, and Paul Skeens is over 110 pitches. But now that they've gotten out of that, the bullpen has sat down. So when they came back, you could see, like the shot they were using, you could see LSU's bullpen, and they had sat down. We'll see, eventually if they get back up during this inning, the more it goes on. Something, depending on how long it takes you to go out there. But we got to hypothesize about, Skeens just coming back out for the 9th anyway. We'll see what happens there. I'm going to be very interested to see who he uses. Thatcher Hurd, it wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me if they put Hurd in to close out this ballgame. I have spent all week on this show, on Musso at the Box, all week talking about how if Jay was going to take a guy and try one of his best guys and try to maximize him and just move him bullpen and use him over the course, like maximize the innings he pitches over the course of a weekend, in this tournament, in the tournament format, for me, it would be Thatcher Hurd. He's come out of the bullpen more. He's started. He's long relief. He's shown a lot of versatility, and he would be that guy for me. So that would not surprise me. And I fully understand the want to do that, thinking in terms of outs, not rolls. That part I get. And the reason that's become such a conversation is Leah Van, the Advocate, wrote the article about it, kind of going back to Jay's time at Arizona, his first year when they went to the College World Series Finals, and they had some injuries on the staff, and he had to do that. And Ty Floyd was the example she had used, and I just took it as like, I'd rather I get the concept. For me, Hurd. So that would not surprise me. It would not surprise me. What it would make me do is question the decision to pitch Paul Skeens today even more. Because I think what everybody assumed was you're going to go, and that's if you use Hurd. They still may not. But I think what everybody assumed when you saw Paul Skeens was, okay, you would go Skeens, Floyd, and probably Hurd. What you're looking at now, if they use Hurd here, sure, he could come back and start Sunday if you don't have to use him tomorrow. But what you're more looking at is probably Javen Coleman on Sunday, or you're in your third game, wherever that is. I mean, which is going to be Sunday, obviously, unless you don't get to a third game, but it looks like you're on your way to doing that. The point is, Sunday, game 3, depending on what Hurd throws, or if he throws before that, you're looking at Edge Coleman. So I have questions there. Is he ready to extend? Coleman's high pitch count on the year is 65. I wanted him desperately to get a start in the SEC tournament so they could extend him more and have him ready to start a game in this regional. When that didn't happen, I think the focus for all of us really kind of shifted to Hurd probably being that third guy. But if they're going to use him bullpen-wise here, that opens the door for LSU to have to go whole staff in a game 3. And if this was last year's team, I'd feel a lot better about that. You don't have, you got to get through the games first. You can see where you're at, but think back to the third Mississippi State game. Think back to the third Alabama game. Now, you won one of those, you lost one of those. But it showed you how difficult whole staff is for this team. The depth just isn't there from a bullpen standpoint. The quality of depth that you had last year, I should say, just isn't there from a bullpen standpoint. So that part would make me question the move to throw Skeens more, quite honestly. And by the way, that's our Citizens Bank poll question of the day. Do you agree with the decision to start Paul Skeens today? Yes or no? Go vote on Twitter at 1045 ESPN as Dylan Cruz punches out looking on a filthy slider. That's going to be just an interesting thing to look at. So the last shot they showed to the bullpen when there was one out, there was still nobody up. Now there's 2 outs and a runner on first. It's still 6-2. They might throw Skeens back out there, although we're gonna have a pitching change from Tulane now. Lord. Okay. That's just gonna elongate the baseball game, but something to keep an eye on. I mean, I don't know. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that. I having a whole staff approach would be interesting for a third game. And I think many of us, when you saw Skeens go, thought it would be Skeens Floyd Hurd from that point out. But again, the decision to use Hurd wouldn't surprise me. All right, we have a little bit of time left in this segment. Excuse me. Look around the league here real quick. Arkansas was in a bit of a battle with Santa Clara, and they've pulled away a little bit. Boy, that fourth inning really snowballed on Santa Clara. Second trip through the lineup there for them against Arkansas, and they ended up putting up 5, take a 5-2 lead. Good thing they did because Santa Clara added one in the 5th, but Arkansas now up 7-3 in that one. Hogs Regional is an interesting one. If we're being honest, that one is 2 Power 5 teams with TCU and Texas Tech. Not Texas Tech. TCU and Arizona. And Arizona's been hot, and TCU, what a program. Interesting to look at there with Arkansas, but man, I really like the way that the Hogs kind of have things set up for them if they can get through it, because it's weird. I think you look at a couple teams this year out of the SEC, and Arkansas is one of them. Tennessee would be the other, but I have doubts about Tennessee, and I can get into that. Arkansas is interesting to me for this reason. The Hogs have had better teams than this one. A lot better teams than this one. The 2018 team is the first one that comes to mind, where they were a drop, pop, fly, and foul ground away from winning a national title. You had that team, that moment away from that. You look at this team that has just been riddled with injuries, and they've just kept winning. It's probably Dave Van Horn's best coaching job. When a team's trying to get over the hump so much, normally, or not normally, I should say, but it's not uncommon for it to happen in a year like this. And that's kind of the way I look at Arkansas. It's like, man, they've had everything possible that could go wrong for them as a program in general, but this year as well. And they've just kept winning and kept winning and kept winning in spite of them. It kind of has that team of destiny feel to it or whatnot. Tennessee, in a sense, too, where it was tailor-made for you to do it last year because your team was just so elite, or what we all thought was such an elite club. And, well, we know what happened. They got eliminated in a home super regional. You look at the way things started this year, and they just got off to a really slow start, and they've really kind of they've played better down the stretch, and many people think they have a shot in Clemson. For me, they just, the lack of success for them on the road this year has the lack of success for them on the road this year just has been baffling. I don't even just mean in true road games, like neutral site too. Tennessee's won 5 games away from Lindsey Nelson this year. So it's hard for me because of that. It's over the course of a whole year. You kind of are what you are. Can you figure it out in a regional? Maybe, but it's hard for me to just be like, yeah, I think Tennessee's going to come out of Clemson. But those are 2 teams that, kind of just like Arkansas is more the team of destiny. And man, if it hadn't happened for you any other year and you keep winning this year, maybe it does. But I don't know. Tennessee, I've heard they've, a lot of people talk about them making a run too. All right, new pitcher into the game is Clevenger for Tulane. Yes, his brother is that Clevenger in the big leagues. But 2-0 counts to Tommy White. Jordan Thompson advanced to second on a wild pitch, and White's trying to drive him in, get LSU an insurance run, get him back to 5. The most intriguing thing for me left here is what they do out of the pen in this game, because you've got Skeens pitch counts up there. And they're going to intentionally walk Tommy White. Of course, there's no reason to pitch to him with a runner in scoring position in a 3-0 count. That's just, you're asking for trouble. They did that earlier in the game. You take your chance. You got Morgan on deck, left on left. Here comes Jay Ullman. There's no way he's going to, unless he's got another lefty down there. No, he's going to bring in a righty to face Morgan. That's very interesting. Wow. You know what? I like that, because I don't always buy into the fact that you have to go lefty, lefty, righty, righty. Sometimes I think the matchup stuff is just, it's just a little bit of a load of crap, to be honest with you, sometimes. But Jay Ullman, interesting move. One you don't see. Bring in a lefty to face a righty and then go get the righty to face the lefty. We'll see how it pans out for him. LSU with runners at first and second, 2 outs, up 6-2 in the bottom of the 8th inning, looking for some insurance. Trey Morgan coming to the plate. We are going to head to break. Come back on the other side. Switch back to football for a little bit. We'll obviously update how the 8th inning ended and whatnot. But Kirk Herbstreit gave an interview to On3, had some very, very interesting comments. Very interesting comments when it came to how he views the top of the SEC right now as we head into the summer months ahead of August. We'll let you hear what Herbstreit said, and we'll react to it as well on the other side. That's next here on AFR Friday Show, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
AFR.
Love telling you about HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Do business with someone you know. That's us, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Check us out online. I tell you all the time as well, if you want to email me directly, you can. It's matt@HUDCOroofing.com. I'm happy to help facilitate anything that you may need. Trust me, you don't want me on your roof, but I certainly know the people within our business, our company, that you would love to have on your roof. It's HUDCO Roofing. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. The thing I got to stress, fortified roofing. With a fortified roof, you can save as much as 52% on your homeowner's insurance, depending on who your insurance provider is. As much as 52% you could save on your homeowner's insurance with a fortified roof. You got to learn more about this, y'all. We'd love to explain it to you, how you can save money, how you can protect not only your family, but your home, your belongings on the interior as well. Go to HUDCOroofing.com, click the Fortify tab. If you want to learn more, give us a shout. 364-1007, 364-1007, or HUDCOroofing.com. Do business with someone you know, HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. The cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like it's Wall Street.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like Vans customized.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Remind you about Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com, mold-0usa.com. Tell you every day, kill mold, remove odor, kill dozens of other pathogens. Mold Zero USA. They'll always give you that free estimate if you want to learn more about the process. I get it. It's different. You have mold, people usually are thinking, now we got to cut sheetrock. It's going to be messy. It's going to be intrusive. Nah, with Mold Zero. They come in, they spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. It's easy. It's all hooked up to a truck, all the hoses and everything. They'll pull up, they'll walk in, they'll spray the whole house. The fog will touch everything in the house. You let it dwell. It'll kill the mold, the spores, all of it. And then you just wait for the fog to dissipate, go right back in your home, your mold-free, clean-smelling home. You want to learn more about the process, little or no demolition required. You want to learn more what the Army Corps of Engineers has to say, it's all there. mold-0usa.com.
Tulane back to the bullpen. Jay Ullman's treating this like a midweek game now, just wearing out a path from the dugout to the mound. They went to a true freshman, Will Prigge. He threw 5 pitches, and all 5 of them missed the zone, and that was it. So he walked Trey Morgan to load the bases on 4 pitches, threw ball 1 to Travinsky. None of them were close, and that was it. So a new pitcher will come in and inherit a tough situation if you're Tulane. Interesting to go to a freshman there in that spot when you needed Morgan out, and you had a lefty on the bump and coming in. But matchups aren't everything, and You're in a tough spot there now if you are if you're Tulane. See if Hayden Travinsky can come through, add some insurance runs for LSU, or if they take it to the 9th, up 6-2. All right. So wanted to talk a little bit of LSU football here because Kirk Herbstreit gave an interview to On 3 Sports and was asked about the SEC, and the way the question was phrased was more about Alabama. Because, look, we all kind of know what Alabama, we all know what people think of Alabama so far this year. There's a lot of people kind of looking at them like, wait a minute. Last year wasn't great. It's the whole argument where they lost 2 games, but they only lost 2 games, and they lost it by, one in overtime on a field goal, the other by 2 points in overtime. 5 points combined, both, or one at the gun, I should say, 1 in overtime, 5 points combined to LSU and to Tennessee. And the thought process around that is, anyway, the thought process behind Bama is, okay, is it starting to slip a little bit with Saban? But the argument has always been, well, they lost that combined 5 points. They could have easily been 12-0. Yeah, well, there's also the game at Texas. They could have easily been, an 8-4 team in the regular season. My thing with them is it appears it's gonna be tougher than it has been in the past. There's a lot Alabama has to replace. 2 coordinators, Bryce Young, Will Anderson, but obviously there's more. So Kirk Herbstreit, given all that, was asked by On3 Sports, what does he kind of make of Alabama? He said this, but he also took it a different way that's going to expand this conversation. Give a listen.
Whenever they have a few losses or whenever they don't quite chase their goals the previous year, and whenever, they got a new this and a new that and a new quarter, it's like, oh boy, Nick Saban's in trouble. I'm telling you, he's got the same energy he's had since 2009 when he won his first title against Texas. He's got great players like he had in 2009, maybe better. He's got a team that's going to be upset with a chip on their shoulder. As we sit here, what are we, May 31? It's hard for me not to lean towards Alabama in the SEC just because of what you described. Now, you got LSU, who made incredible strides in that first year with Brian Kelly. Got a lot coming back from that team. They beat Bama last year. They got to go to Tuscaloosa. So those 3 are going to be everybody's 3. As we sit here right now, I'm going to wait to see where we are in August. But I would be in that Bama LSU, just a little bit ahead of Georgia, getting into the summer months.
All right. So obviously the end of that cut is what's going to expound it. But first, let me talk about the first half of it. Because what Kirk Herbstreit is doing is what everybody's done for Alabama so many times. He's giving them the benefit of the doubt. Oh, yeah, every time they have to replace 2 coordinators and players here and players there, we always think it's going to be this cat, like, it's over for Nick Saban. And it never ends up being the case. But why this year feels so different, why it feels different is because last year it should have been tailor-made for them to make a run, to challenge Georgia, and they couldn't. It wasn't just the fact that they lost those 2 games. Alabama wasn't very good on the offensive line last year. Alabama, they were undisciplined, quite honest. They missed with guys out of the transfer portal. The penalties were up way more than they had been. That feeds into the undisciplined part. Obviously, a guy like Eli Ricks, you missed on him out of the transfer portal. There were multiple. There were others. You didn't have the production you're used to seeing at receiver from them. I mean, Bryce Young was awesome. Jahmyr Gibbs was awesome. Will Anderson was awesome. Outside of that, though, Alabama really weren't great. Let's just call it what it is. That's why it feels different. And now you go into this year, and you look at Bryce Young, not there. Will Anderson, not there. So your best offensive player, your best defensive player. You have to replace both coordinators, which most Alabama fans are happy about anyway. But you have to replace both coordinators. And then ultimately, that's enough, right? But no. On top of that, 10 players in total, including Young and Anderson, left for the draft. It tied Georgia. I get in the past giving Alabama the benefit of the doubt. I do not understand it this year. I don't. Especially not having LSU ahead of them, like most do right now. And we're going to do an exercise here because of what he said at the end of there, at the cut. Georgia. The fact that he has LSU and Bama ahead of Georgia right now really caught my attention. Because I think Georgia has entered that realm of benefit of the doubt now, like Alabama had been for so long. We look at Georgia and we see the recruiting that they've done, and it's been awesome. I mean, Kirby's been a recruiting machine. We look at their schedule, and it's incredibly weak. Like, let's just be honest. The SEC East isn't the West, and Georgia's non-conference schedule is laughable. But is LSU ahead of Georgia? I think many people would have just said, no, they're not. But when you really look at it, you can make the case. You really can. Let's do that exercise, right? That's what I want to do right now. So I think we can agree, and you're going to get tagged with bias because of, it's a show in Baton Rouge. But I think we can agree that most believe LSU's should be the favorite in the West this year to get back to Atlanta. And everybody want to know, can they beat Georgia? So let's see. On paper, here on June 2nd. Some of Georgia's biggest questions. Quarterback is one of them. But if we're being honest, it's probably going to be Carson Beck's job. But you compare that to LSU, there is no question at quarterback. You feel great about Jaden Daniels. He's poised to take a big step. You feel really good about Garrett Nussmeier being a backup for you, poised to take the next step. If Daniels goes down, you feel good about Nuss. Carson Beck, probably going to win the job at Georgia. He was their most effective in the spring game. You can't take everything from spring games. I understand. And Kirby Smart's not going to tell you right now, but it makes sense. But after that, Brock Vandergriff or Gunnar Stockton, you don't really feel as good about their backup situation as you do LSU's. How about this one? Georgia has to replace both starting tackles this year. LSU doesn't. LSU made it to the SEC championship last year with 2 freshmen starting at tackle. They're both back, poised to take the next step. A full year in the SEC under their belt. Georgia's got to replace both tackles. Now, Amarius Mims looks like he's going to slide right into one of them, and that's fine. They can shuffle some things around. They've got some guys who played guard who could kick out to tackle, and they have some young players who are tackles. Can they just step right in, much like Will Campbell and Emory Jones did at LSU, and do that? Sure, but it's still a lot more uncertain. You got one guy that you feel really good about stepping in, and other than that, you got to shuffle around. So having to replace 2 tackles, that's a check mark in favor of LSU. Defensive tackle looked like it was clear for Georgia, but is it? Jalen Carter, best defensive tackle in the country last year, he's gone. You expect Bear Alexander to just slide right in, but he transferred to USC. So now you're looking at potentially having to move guys around there in that spot. Now, you have good depth. Georgia's got great depth along the defensive tackle spot, so you feel good. But, I mean, if you look at LSU, don't you feel really good there too? You get Mason Smith back. Mekhi Wingo was awesome last year. And you expect the guys you got out of the transfer portal to really take that next step as well, like Jalen Lee. You still have Jacoby and Guillory, Jalen Lee, Jordan Jefferson. Like, you feel good about depth there. So, I mean, yeah, okay. I could look at that and say LSU with Mason Smith and with Mekhi Wingo and Georgia without Bear Alexander and Jalen Carter, I can make a case that LSU should get the check mark in that. So, okay, sure. Yeah, I see that. Defensive end, that's an interesting one. Georgia's got to replace one senior who left there. LSU, they've kind of rebuilt that position. They like what they're going to have out of the jack spot. Interesting conversation to be had there. Outside linebacker, Georgia's got to replace Nolan Smith and Robert Beal. 2 guys. Now, granted, Nolan Smith got hurt halfway through the season, and Chaz Chambliss filled in, and he'll be back. And so he's got meaningful reps. But, I mean, maybe with DeMario Tolan off to Auburn, you don't feel as great about linebacker, but you still have Harold Perkins there that you're going to feel really good about, right? Like, that's their version of Nolan's. That's your version of what Nolan Smith was to them last year. They don't have that guy anymore. LSU does. You have Greg Penn. Greg Penn played well last year, right? You got to replace Baskerville and some other players like that, but I don't think LSU's really worried about the linebacker spot. And then there is quarterback. Keely Ringo gone, y'all. Keely Ringo, you got to replace one of your starting quarterbacks for your Georgia. Now, LSU's replacing a bunch, but I think LSU's replacing both. But I think we all feel better about LSU's cornerback room this year than we did last. So you go position by position, especially defensively, and you can absolutely make the case that, yeah, maybe LSU should be thought of as maybe even being ahead of Georgia. We didn't mention running back or receiver, but both teams feel very good about that. The thing is, looking at Georgia's defense, and this is why ultimately going through everything we just did, I would still look at you and say Georgia's ahead of LSU. So that's my take. Georgia is still ahead of LSU. Kirby Smart is just a defensive genius. Okay. Kirby Smart deserves the benefit of the doubt there. They're going to play great defense. Will they be as elite as they were the last 2 years? Maybe not, but they're still going to be top 10 in the country defensively. I don't know if LSU is going to be top 10 in the country defensively. Part of that can be Georgia's schedule. Absolutely. And that is a big part of this. Their schedule is weaker than LSU's. So I fully expect Georgia to go through 12-0, at least 11-1, and be in Atlanta. The other thing is quarterback, where we started. Jake Fromm and Stetson Bennett had great success at Georgia as their quarterback under Kirby Smart, and they won a bunch of games. Yes, they have a new play caller in Mike Bobo this year. Don't care. Carson Beck will do just fine. So ultimately, while you can go down the list, you can go position by position, you can look and say, yeah, I think LSU is right there. You could make the case that they're ahead. I still give that nod to Georgia. It's Georgia. It's LSU for me going into SEC. If Alabama decides to be Alabama again next year, which is not out of the realm of possibility, okay, it gets real interesting. But disagree with Mr. Herbstreit a little bit there. I'll take LSU ahead of Alabama, and I'll take Georgia ahead of both LSU and Alabama. It's fun to talk about in June. They'll actually play the games come the fall, and I know we're all fired up to see that, and we'll have you covered right here on AFR and our all of our shows here on ESPN Baton Rouge when the time comes. All right, LSU victorious 7-2 over the Tulane Green Wave. Paul Skeens with the complete game, about 125 pitches. If you were going to throw him in this game, he needed to get you deep. He got you all the way. That sets LSU up pretty good. And I think you saw a little bit of Jay's thinking down the road there when he had the bullpen the way he did. We will spend a lot of time in the 5 o'clock hour basically just post-game showing it up about LSU. We'll dissect the game from every angle. Hunt Palmer actually texted me mid-segment there. He's going to come in for a little bit during the 5 o'clock hour and talking with me here too. So be sure to tune in there. So LSU gets the 7-2 win, a complete game from Paul Skeens. They move to the winner's bracket. They will play tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time. They will face the winner of Oregon State, Sam Houston State. That game at 7 p.m. tonight at Alec Box Stadium, Skip Bertman Field. Grab a break, come back, close out hour number 2. Tigers and the Pros here on Friday's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouses.com, Rouses.com. Remember, you can always get to the Rouses website or download the Rouses app. Highly recommend the app as well, because when you get the Rouses app, you can always do curbside to go and pickup options, delivery and pickup options. So you get the Rouses app and you select your groceries, your personal shopper. We'll go pick them out for you. Pull up into one of the designated spots. They bring them out to you. It's so easy. Hey, look, gifts for grads. A lot of you see the graduation pictures everywhere. If you need that graduation card to go with the cash you're sending to the grad, or if you need that cake for the grad, they got it. Or Rouse's gift cards are a great option for grads as well. They're going to be moving out on their own for the first time. Why not give them a Rouse's gift card so they can buy their own groceries with that Rouse's gift card, help them get a jump start. It's at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A brazen and callous drive-by shooting caught on camera in Plaquemine. Nearly 40 shots fired. Unfortunately, the shooter's aim was so bad, no one was hurt. Tonight, one man is in custody, and the search for 2 others continues. Why neighbors are saying the gunfire and bad behavior has them living on edge. Hear what the sheriff has to say about it. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2 here of After Further Review. We'll do it how we do it every single day. Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
We'll start with games currently in action in Major League Baseball today. The Cincinnati Reds, they're losing 2-1 to the Brewers, but Jake Fraley does not have an official plate appearance yet. Drew a walk in his first AB, would come around to score. That's the lone run that the Reds actually have on the board. So Fraley continues to be productive, starting in right field today as opposed to DH, where we've seen him plenty of other times. Action yesterday that we didn't get to because either we missed it or it happened after the show went off the air. Kevin Gausman, great outing for the Blue Jays in a victory. Got the win. Now 4-3 on the year. 6 2/3 innings pitched for Gausman. 5 hits scattered, shutout ball, just 2 walks and 11 punch-outs. Threw 115 pitches, 74 of them for strikes. So 4-3 the record. The ERA now 2.76 for the former Tiger. The interesting thing is, man, you don't see it a lot in Major League Baseball anymore. Pitchers extending that much. Kevin Gausman is one that does it plenty. I mean, he regularly goes over 100 pitches every time we do these segments here. The Astros last night, victorious 5-2 over the Angels. Alex Bregman, another good night. 1 for 3 for Bregman. It was a single, but did drive in 2 runs on the night. Him and Altuve actually both had runs driven in the ball game and helped pace the Angels there. So Bregman now on the year, 247, up to 31 runs batted in for Bregman. To golf, the Memorial this weekend here. Sam Burns shot 1 under par yesterday first round, continuing the hot play today, 2 under right now through 16 at Jack's Place, 3 under for the tournament. That has him tied for 11th. He is 5 shots off the lead right now of American Justin Suh. Needs to do some work, but got a couple holes left. Get one more birdie on the card, and potentially 17's a par 3. It's a hard par 3, but it's par 3. Potentially get one more on the card. Be 4 shots back heading into moving day. That's a good spot. Ben Taylor, on the other hand, his time at Jack's Place is over. 8 over par round today for Ben Taylor. Finishes him at 9 over for the tournament. Tied for 102nd. He will miss the cut. So Sam Burns, your lone player, hanging around the Memorial this weekend for LSU. That is Tigers in the Pros. It's brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Looking for an engagement ring? Ready to pop the question? Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. That's where you go. It's really the only place to go. It's common sense. You know, man, got to get married. Got to pop the question. I got to go to Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Maybe you're not looking to get married right now. Maybe it's just significant other's birthday or an anniversary. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry makes a great gift. The gift in the little red box makes a great gift every single time. LMFJ.com. They bring you Tigers in the Pros every single day here on After Further Review. All right, so that's just about going to do it here for us in hour number 2. Tigers win. That's how Regional Friday is supposed to go. They're into the winner's bracket tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time. Your first pitch, they will play the winner of Sam Houston State and of Oregon State. That game, 7 p.m. tonight at the Box. So what we're going to do, we're going to kind of deep dive the game today. There's a lot to talk about. Pitching decisions, things of that nature. Paul Skeens shoved, went 9 innings, the complete game, saves your bullpen. Hunt Palmer is going to come in here. He's still hanging around the building. Jump on with me. We're going to do some post-game here for a couple segments on After Further Review as we continue to drive you home. So climb aboard. Game's over. No excuse not to listen now. Hour 3 is next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Hey, summer's here. The kids are out of school now, and you got to be thinking, what are we going to do this summer? How about the Traction Summer Baseball League? Registration open right now. They start June the 5th. That's a week from Monday. So, Traction Summer Baseball League. Practice one night a week, game one night a week. That's Mondays and Fridays this summer. Also, Traction Summer Baseball Camps. Registration's open right now. You've got full and half-day options for 8 weeks throughout the summer. You can do, again, full or half-day options, 5 days at a time, week at a time. You want to pick and choose, 1 week here, 1 week there, 2 weeks, whatever. You can do it. Registration right now, open at TractionSports.com. TractionSports.com, where champions are made. This summer, you need your kids to go to camp. Traction's got you covered. TractionSports.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Is SportsCenter. I'm Christine Lisi. Another NBA head coaching vacancy is close to being filled. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting the Suns finalizing a 5-year deal to make Frank Vogel their next coach. ESPN senior NBA writer Andre Snelling.
They got a guy who's won the Western Conference and the NBA Finals relatively recently. And, he can help build a defense to go with what should be a potent offense, starring Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. So, it's a name. So that's the first thought is they got a brand name.
Andre Snelling's on Fitz and Harry. Vogel won an NBA title with the Lakers in 2020. Toronto is the lone coaching vacancy remaining. Also from Woj, Utah Jazz's G League team, Salt Lake City Stars, hiring former Marquette coach Steve Wojciechowski as head coach. He has been eager to make the leap into pro coaching. Bills pass rusher Von Miller told Channel 9 News in Denver he expects to return from an ACL injury and play in the season opener September 11th against the Jets on Monday Night Football. Tennis great Rafael Nadal had hip surgery today in Barcelona. More information expected to be released tomorrow, which is Nadal's 37th birthday. He's been sidelined since January when he was hurt during the Australian Open.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay, and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Come join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
This is Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour number 3, after further review, Musso in for Moscona. Final hour of the week. Scone's back on Monday. Tigers win 7-2 over Tulane, and we're gonna pretty much do post-game show, I think, for the rest of the day here, and talk a lot of baseball. Because while the game was on, we talked things other than baseball. We talked a couple LSU football segments, scheduling, things of that nature. The Big 12 maybe adding Gonzaga for basketball only. Just crazy things like that. But now, games in the books. We can talk baseball. Hunt Palmer hanging around the building for some odd reason on a Friday at 5 o'clock.
Didn't want to go home?
So
Just wanted to watch the game here?
He's hanging out now a little bit with us as well. We're going to talk some ball. Hunt, I'll just open it for you here first. Reaction to the 7-2 win, and then we can get into everything else.
That's as good as it can go. Once you got the starting pitching decision, that's as good as it can go. I mean, we've seen hairy game ones. I went through a bunch of them on my show earlier today. Southern in 09 had you on the ropes in the 7th inning. I remember a game back in 13 where you had to use your whole bullpen. Katz and Rhymes and Bregman ran into each other, and one had to come out of the game.
I remember that.
Things can happen. Things get weird, and take it or leave it with throwing Skeens out there. The fact of the matter is he did exactly what you wanted him to do, and you're in as good a position as you can be in once that decision was made at 12:30.
Yeah, you could. I mean, and look, I was watching when that was one of the segments early in the 4 o'clock hour I was doing. It was the 8th inning, and he had mowed the first 2 guys down, and I was like, well, wait a minute. I mean, if he gets out of this under 110, his high is 117. You run him back out there, and ultimately he didn't get out of it at 110, but they ran him back out there anyway. And I mean, he looked strong in the 9th inning.
So I wasn't there, obviously, but apparently the LSU half of the 8th was very long. Yes. And I kind of thought that may be the end for Skeens. Well, he ran out of the dugout for the 9th and apparently caused the entire stadium to go nuts for the 9th inning. So
I love that first of all. Take me out now. How are you going to take me out now? Okay, so the decision to pitch Skeens. Yep. I know it's kind of irrelevant now because he went 9 innings, but it's still kind of not. So we talked about it a little bit off air earlier today after it was announced. Neither of us really. No, it wouldn't have been our choice.
It would not.
It would not have been. Do we feel any differently about it now, though?
No.
Okay, me either.
They didn't score as many runs as I thought, but they put enough on the board. You figure 7 runs should be enough. And now you've got everybody you want ready to win one game. And I believe we'll see what Jay says after this game. We'll see what it says when the dust settles, whether that's Sunday, Monday, they've won, they haven't advanced, whatever what he says. But I believe, based on looking at the information that we have, that Jay looked at this and said, these guys are so depleted with pitching. Oregon State's missing 2 weekend guys. Sam Houston doesn't really have any guys. We've got to find a way to win games 1 and 2. And that starts with game 1. and I can use Skeens for the vast majority of that, and hopefully the guys have swung the bats, and I can go to someone way down the line, think Money or Dutton or somebody like that, and I'll be locked and loaded for a team with no ace, who our lineup's better than, and I'll have Floyd and Ackenhausen and Guidry and Collins. We'll have the whole army ready to go under the lights in Alex Box Stadium with 11,000, and if we win that, there's just not anybody that can come get us. And he felt better about that than trying to bullpen his way through this one or to throw Floyd out there. I think he thinks he's 9 innings away from locking this thing down. That's just that's what my gut tells me, and we'll see.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I can see that. One of my whole things is I think so much of it comes down to preference too. I mean, I look at Skeens, and we've heard so many times this year just how routine oriented he is, how recovery and rest and everything's so big for him. The reason I have such a hard time with it is my preference when you're the 1 seed is just to always hold your ace.
Yes,
because
unless Ben Sheets shows up, which he did one time.
Yes, but because I mean Saturday is the most pivotal day in the regional. Either you're fighting for elimination or you're fighting to go on. You can make the case Monday if you get there, and that, yes, obviously that is a winner go home game 7, but everyone's depleted at that point. It's always very high scoring. So that's why I always just had such a hard time understanding it. I mean, sure, you run Floyd out there today, you win. Probably. And then you run Skeens, you win. So you're going to be pretty much in the same situation either way.
Well, if they win tomorrow,
I think so much of it's just preference.
If they win tomorrow, then none of it matters unless you wanted them to throw Hurd.
I think it depends on the game, though. If you're in a tight game and you have to spin bullpen and you're looking at whole staff on Sunday, with this team, we've seen 2 big whole staff games for them. Think game 3 against Bama. You won that one 13-11, but you lost the whole staff game against State. I'd feel more comfortable if you had last year's bullpen going whole staff than this one. I don't think you have the quality of depth.
Well, I mean, if you have Hurd,
but
and by the way, they got him up in the 8th inning
and
today,
I'm not surprised by that at all
because he's trying to win the first 2.
But
he thinks if he gets to Sunday night, lock it down.
Okay. I mean, look, that's fine. I'm expecting at this point, I'm expecting Thatcher Hurd out of the bullpen probably tomorrow at some point.
If he thinks it's the best option.
Yes. I mean, because it goes back to the whole conversation that everybody was having leading into this about outs, not rolls in the bullpen. And, Leah wrote the article and mentioned Floyd. And my thing was I'd rather actually be Hurd. Floyd didn't come out of the bullpen since Kansas State. That was week 2. Give me Hurd in that role. And when he did that, I'm like, okay. I mean,
tell me if you agree with this. At some point, whether it's tomorrow, Sunday, or Monday, at some point, the offense is going to have to go get 13. It may be to win 13-10. It may be because you've gotten up 13-4 and you can throw guys you don't necessarily need. But at some point, they did not today, and Skeens saved them. At some point, they're going to have to go get 13 runs.
They are at some point, yes. At some point, they will. I mean, I have said it a lot this week. When I look at this offense, when I look at this regional, I see offense.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Oregon State's got a great offense. Sam Houston's got a great offense. LSU has a great offense. Tulane is now 19 and 41. But
they are.
I mean, you're going to have to score at some point. Absolutely. Would I like to have seen LSU's offense attack Tulane's bullpen a little bit better? Sure.
I mean, it was the one guy.
But it was Lombardi.
And then and you get the question, well, how come Tulane's 19 and 41 at this point? Well, probably because in the biggest game of their season, they continued to parade out freshmen who looked like 8th graders who couldn't throw it over the plate. That's probably why they're 18 and 41. Yeah.
I mean, that is why. So, I mean, would you have let? Sure. But LSU did a great job on Dylan Carmouche, I thought. I thought they were 6 runs on 10 hits and 5
a lot of hits early.
Yeah.
Oregon double play hurt. But
it did.
And they executed. Now, whether or not you agree with the bunting and all that kind of stuff, we can have that discussion. But when they were asked to bunt, they got the bunt down. When they got to run it to third base, they had a sac fly. And Jay was playing to try to get to 5. And it figures at that point, Tulane's probably not going to get there. And they didn't.
And they didn't. I mean, no, but that was going to be my point. It's like, no, the hits with runners in scoring position probably weren't there, but the execution was.
And that was one of the big beefs with the last game in Hoover. And in my contention,
especially getting runners home from third with less than 2
They're striking out too much there, and that's the case. And I don't know that they're going to strike out very much in this regional.
No.
Assuming that Oregon State is going to go with their guy, assuming they're going to go with Sellers, which I'm assuming is still the case, there's not really anybody left on either stat sheet that I look at and go, oh, that's a lot of strikeouts. Now, Sellers does, and even Carmouche to an extent, but that's a little bit different. But I think LSU is going to be fine offensively.
I do too.
LSU is a 75% favorite to get out of this regional at this point.
Yeah. Okay. You're talking after the win now,
right?
After the win. Okay. That's fair. I don't disagree. Do you have a preference on who you'd rather play in the winners bracket? Sam Houston.
I just Benzana at Oregon State, and I mean Oregon State still has some dudes, and that's a little bit of an issue. I heard Gavin Turley was one of their hugely sought after recruits. He was amazing for the first month. He hit the skids for a month, and then he had 4 home runs last week. You figure maybe that's turning back on. They just got more dudes. Sam Houston's a capable baseball team. They've won a ton of games, and they've got a pretty good program pedigree, and they've got some guys that have unbelievable stats as well. Mm-hmm. But Oregon State's got more dudes, and that's just the way I see it.
That's fair. I mean, you brought up Benzana. I mean, if you build the complete offensive player in a lab, it's that guy. I mean, he's got more walks than strikeouts. He's 6th in the country in walks, 10 homers, a 380 average. Oh, by the way, he's stolen 36 bags this year. Like, he just is, he does it all offensively. It's incredible to see. So I'm with you. I'd rather it be Sam Houston State as well. That's the other thing. Oregon State's ability to draw walks bothers me a little bit in a matchup with LSU's pitching staff.
Well, it's been better, but the bullpen guys for sure. The bullpen guys for sure. I think the one thing for tonight, I mean, I would prefer to play Sam Houston, but the one thing I'm looking for tonight is to try to get Ryan Brown in the game. He's the closer for Oregon State. Now, I'm told he hasn't been as good lately. He was very good in like April and early May. But still, you got 10 saves playing in the pack. Like, he's clearly a guy they want to get the ball to. I wouldn't mind to see him for 35 pitches tonight.
No, I mean, I think that would actually I think that'd be great. Yeah, look, if Sam Houston State and Oregon State want to play until 12 a.m., Hunt, I'm also fine with that. I mean, if they just want to play 13 innings or so tonight, yeah.
Play all night.
Yeah.
All night long.
Play as long as you want.
Lionel Richie, baby.
Play as long as you want and just really take it out of stress, kind of a stress feast it can be tomorrow. LSU, they win it 7-2, move to the winners bracket. Got to grab a break here. It's Friday show presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Stay here.
AFR.
And the Watermark Hotel, 2 great locations. If you're downtown or in Southtown, our friends at the Watermark and the Renaissance can certainly help make your next event spectacular, whether it's a wedding or an intimate gathering downtown at the Watermark, Baton Rouge's premier luxury hotel, or if you're at the Renaissance for a board meeting. They have elegant, intimate board meetings for a dozen people, or meeting space for up to 500 people in their spacious ballroom. At the Renaissance, they like to say, we're in the business of saying yes. So if it's annual conferences, award banquets, nonprofit school fundraisers, if you're hosting a sports team, a formal cotillion etiquette classes, they do it all at the Renaissance Hotel right there on Bluebonnet. It's the Renaissance Hotel. You can check them out online for reservations or to get more information. It's the Renaissance and the Watermark, downtown and Southtown. Check them out at the Renaissance Hotel.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring. Wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, or NOLAFlooring.com.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off, plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on all new 22 Ford F-150 SCA trucks, and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Roger about Michelli weighing and measurement. Michelli.com with 30 offices across 11 different states. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, rents the products used to weigh and measure. No matter where you are, you can ship your precision measurement devices to Michelli, and they'll calibrate them for you, send them back, or they'll just come to your office, pick them up, and bring them back. They can also do on-site calibration. If you have equipment that can't leave or you don't want it to leave, they can come do on-site calibrations as well with their mobile calibration labs. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, online at Michelli.com. Louisiana-born, Louisiana-owned and operated for 76 years. They've continued to grow, expand their footprint while maintaining that local ownership, local feel, handshake deals, face-to-face sales. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. They're also hiring. Check out the careers tab at Michelli.com. Again, online at Michelli.com, Michelli.com.
All right, moseying along here, continuing hour number 3 of After Further Review, kind of just post-gaming it up now after LSU defeats Tulane 7-2. Before we get out of here, I will give you some final thoughts on Oregon State, Sam Houston State, how I see that one going. Hopefully, we'll be kind of near an hour out from first pitch. Maybe we'll have lineups so we can confirm if Trent Sellers is indeed starting for the Oregon State Beavers. It'd be interesting. I don't think that would have changed. I know when Mitch Canham met with the media on Tuesday, Oregon State's head coach, and he announced that the other two were out, right? That Kamatz and Hunter were out for the regional. The obvious follow-up was, okay, well, what happens with the rest of the pitchers? And his exact quote was Sellers game 1, and he moved on and talked about, Rhett Larson and AJ Lattery and Ben Ferrer. And then when we had Brendan Slaughter right here on AFR earlier this week, he had mentioned probably Sellers, and then most likely Ben Ferrer would start the game 2 against LSU. So we'll have to see. Again, hopefully before we get out of here, we can have that confirmed. Oregon State might drop a lineup because, we'll be about an hour away from first pitch. What I wanted to do here in this segment, though, is I wanted to talk a little bit more about LSU's offense. So Hunt and I were just talking there in the top of the hour about, at some point, LSU's offense is going to have to go out there and score 13 at some point this weekend. And we were in agreement on that. I think there's a couple different ways you can look at LSU's offensive performance today. And I have some thoughts on the lineup as well as just kind of what they did. We're going to start with Dylan Crews. Dylan Crews was awesome again today. Like, if there was ever any doubt that he has snapped the slump or the air quotes slump, it's now. The guy is now hitting 9 straight games. He was 3 for 3 to start his day. He looked like the Dylan Cruz you saw from the majority of the year that was flirting with 500, where the one time he came up in a spot with the runner on third base, he drills the double down the line and scores a much-needed run. You only get 1 run in that inning. It's 2-0 feels a lot different than 3-0 after 2 in that spot. And when Dylan was in the quote-unquote mini slump, that run wasn't getting driven home. It did in that spot, and I thought that was massive. He was great at the top of your lineup, worked deep at bats. I mean, Dylan Cruz is just, he's Dylan Cruz. He's awesome, but he helped pace your offense. Hayden Travinski, again today, awesome. After the Morgan double play in the first inning, that hurts. That hurt. You had the shutdown 10-pitch inning from Paul Skeens in the top half. Cruz singles, White singles. You're thinking, okay, here you go. Like, yep, it's going to be the route that we all kind of thought going into it. Morgan bounces into that double play, takes the sting out of it a little bit, but Hayden Travinski, with 2 strikes, mind you, hits a hanging changeup off the wall in left center field and gets the first run in. That was huge. He would add another hit later on. 2 more RBI, 2 more hits, 2 more runs scored for Hayden Travinski. I'm going to come back to him. I loved seeing the 2 hits from Cade Beloso today. That was fantastic. I thought Gavin Dugas had a really nice day. Gavin Dugas, and they brought this up on the broadcast, and Dave Neal had said he gets overshadowed by Dylan Cruz, and he's right. Gavin Dugas has reached base in 55 straight games. Like, we can look at him and say that shoulder's bothering him, and the swing isn't the same, and the throws from second base obviously aren't the same. Gavin Dugas has reached base in 55 straight games. Swinging bunt basically today, but also laid down a great sacrifice bunt in the third inning that moved runners up and allowed you to get another run in. So you had the RBI from Dugas. He had the swinging bunt hit. He was very productive. And then the last 2 guys I want to mention at the bottom of the order are Jordan Thompson and Josh Pearson. Jordan Thompson had kind of really been going through it a little bit, at least from a hitting from average standpoint. It was great to see him get the 2 for 3 day that he did. And then Josh Pearson, who, look, if you were here yesterday on AFR, if you listened to the Musso at the Box that previewed this game, I told you Josh Pearson was going to be in the lineup today because it's just what Jay has done. In the biggest moments of the season, when he's needed to go to somebody he trusts, it's always been Josh Pearson. Josh Pearson struggled pre-conference. We know that. But when it came time Friday night at Texas A&M, who was in the lineup? Josh Pearson. When you needed the veteran presence off the bench against Georgia, Josh Pearson. He gets the start the next day. It didn't go great. He sits out 1, but you get to the SEC tournament, first game there, Josh Pearson's back in the lineup. This was going to be no different. It's game 1 of the regional, postseason. That's a kid he trusts an awful lot, who's been through the ringer, played postseason ball last year as a freshman, played the majority of your SEC, hit .299 as a freshman. He was going to be in there. He didn't have a hit today, but he drove in 2 runs, and that is massive. That's a conversation we have had ever since preseason with this club. They're too deep to not have production 1 through 9 in the lineup. And what does production 1 through 9 in the lineup look like? Well, it doesn't always have to be everybody hitting over 300. Sometimes it can be Josh Pearson going 0 for 3, but driving in 2 runs with an RBI ground out or a sac fly or whatever it was there down the stretch. That was massive. So when I look at LSU, I see 7 runs. Maybe it's not the onslaught that we thought it would be, especially early when you had 6 runs through 10 hits through half the game. You're thinking, okay, this team, they're going to get to 10 runs today. They didn't. It's fine. 7's enough to win. 7's definitely enough to win with Paul Skeens on the bump. It should be enough to win tomorrow night when you have Ty Floyd on the mound. What was great, and we touched on this with Hunt, was the production with runners in scoring position. You're not going to see it from a hit standpoint, but they got guys in from third base with less than 2 outs. They manufactured runs very, very well. And that's another thing we've talked about with this offense over and over and over and over and over again is they're not a one-trick pony. They have 116, 117 home runs on the year. That is a major part of their ballgame. But they can also manufacture runs with the best of them. Whether it's the sack bunts that you saw today, which was out of character for them, quite honestly, but it's what they thought they needed in this game, and they executed them well. Each time LSU sacrificed bunt today, they got the runs in. That's huge. And it came from the bottom of the order, right? Jordan Thompson in the second inning, sacrificed bunt. Josh Pearson hits the RBI ground out. Then Dylan Cruz hits the double. Gavin Dugas sacrificed bunt. Braden Joubert, 7-0 hitter, RBI ground out. That's winning baseball in the postseason, especially given the ballpark you're going to play in Omaha if you make it there. Now, I will say, the ball jumped out of that place during the Big Ten tournament, so keep that in mind. The juiced ball is real, y'all, and maybe not even Charles Schwab, I think is what it's called now, can hold it in. The one thing I will say about the lineup today that I would like to see different is Tommy White not in the 2-hole. I want him 3 or 4, preferably 3, because what you saw was it takes the bat out of his hand. Trey Morgan, while he's a great hitter and has been a great hitter for 3 years at LSU and will continue to be a great hitter for the rest of his time at LSU as we play out the postseason here, he's not the protection that Tommy White needs. Hayden Travinski would be. The rampage that Hayden Travinski has been on since he got inserted into the lineup in the Saturday game against Ole Miss is the protection you need for a guy like Tommy White there. So if you move Morgan up and you just move White down, you give him a chance to be more productive, because when he came up with runners in scoring position and they fell behind him, they were pitching him carefully, they fell behind, they just put him on base. And there's a few more runs that you could have potentially had in that spot. If he's moved down, you're not going to walk him to get to Hayden Travinski very often. Maybe you do and you take your chance, but at least then Hayden Travinski can hurt you. It just hadn't worked out having White in front of Morgan and Travinski very much this year. I mean, you can look at the Arkansas game in the SEC tournament. Morgan and Travinski were awesome. Can you imagine having White behind them that day? And potentially he can drive in runs, and it's a different ball game. But the other caveat to that is he might lack protection. That's why I think if you're going to have Cruz, you're going to have Dylan Cruz in the leadoff spot. The best spot for Tommy White, for me at least, is in that 3 spot. We'll see what Jay Johnson does with that tomorrow. But one thing's for sure, I thought LSU did plenty enough offensively today. I thought you saw some guys continue to stay hot, and also others kind of find themselves. Loved the production from the bottom of your order. Half your runs were driven in from the bottom, so love that. And you move forward tomorrow, and you play at 8 p.m. It'll be a late start. Everybody get out there early. Allow yourself to hydrate. It's going to be a hot one. And cheer the Tigers on to victory as they will play the winner of Sam Houston State and Oregon State. That gets set to go in about an hour and a half from now from Alex Box Stadium, Skip Hertman Field. So what we're going to do now, we're going to break. We're going to come back, talk pitching a little bit for LSU. We won't go into the Paul Skeens discussion of should he have pitched or anything like that. That has run its course, and at this point, it's moot. He gave you a complete game. As Hunt said, it's the best that could have gone, so you move on. What do they do the rest of the way? Who realistically, you have everybody available to win 2 more games. What realistically might Jay Johnson build that out to look like? We'll talk about that and close with a brief thought on Game 2 in the Baton Rouge Regional tonight with Oregon State and Sam Houston State. Musso in for Moscona. We're pretty much kind of just post-game show for LSU and Tulane right now as we walk you up here in the final half hour of the week. Moscona's back on Monday, so be here for that. But I encourage you, stick around here. It's Friday's AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, and we'll be right back.
AFR.
Brought to you by New Orleans Flooring, online at nolaflooring.com. 2 locations, Metairie, and, of course, Airline Highway in Prairieville. If you're going south on Airline in Prairieville, you pass the Walmart, look to the right. You can't miss it. It's New Orleans Flooring. Go to nolaflooring.com, nolaflooring.com. The thing that really sets them apart, look, they've got amazing people. You can go see Terrell. You can go see Big Sean. Great people there. They got everyday low prices. You can get the free in-home estimate. They got the mobile showroom. You can get inspired there on the website. It's a great resource to go to. Financing is available. But what sets them apart more than anything is they cut out the middleman. Because they have more than 1 million square foot of product in stock, they cut out the middleman, and they can give you the best price. I mean, you're talking about saving 40, 50, 60% on flooring. Go where the pros go. Go to New Orleans Flooring. That's NOLAflooring.com. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, and online at NOLAflooring.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you can run the slalom. The cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this Wall Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring, wherever you get your podcast.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
The Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. 2 great locations, Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette. I tell you every day about hormone replacement therapy. But remember, they also have medical-grade supplements. So, about a year ago when I went for my blood labs, we noticed my cholesterol was elevated a little bit. Well, I didn't need to be on cholesterol medicine. It was just one of those things where at 40 years old, they said, hey, we need to start taking a look at that. Look, why don't we try a supplement? So we tried Coritin. So I started taking Coritin as part of my daily regimen, and that, a little bit of weight loss, and my cholesterol has come back to normal, healthy levels. So things like that, catching things early and safely supplementing you to get you to healthy levels, is all about maintaining a healthy body, a healthy lifestyle, a healthy body composition as well. It's at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online, theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com.
All right, no lineups yet for game number 2 in the Baton Rouge Regional. Hoping to get you a look at that before we get out of here, so we have a better idea of how Sam Houston State, how Oregon State are stacking it up, and we'll know what LSU has in store for them a little bit with whoever the winner of that game is going to be. Before we get to that, and they have to post it first for me to even get to that, I want to talk a little bit about LSU's pitching. We're not going to do the Paul Skeens conversation again because we've talked about that a lot today. The only thing we'll say about it is Paul Skeens was awesome today. Complete game, first of his career. 7 hits, no walks, 12 punch-outs, 124 pitches. He was great. He gave you exactly what you needed. So now, if you're LSU, you have everybody available to go win 2 games. The goal is to win the regional in a sweep. You don't want to play 4. You definitely don't want to play 5. You won't play 3. They have an opportunity to do that, and they have everybody available to do that. So even if we disagreed with Jay's decision, the guy makes $2 million. He's the coach. It's worked out for him so well so far through this. You have everyone available. How do you structure it? I think we won't know for sure until before the game because he's not going to say it. But Ty Floyd is going to get the ball tomorrow. I mean, I think we all know that and agree with that. Starting Skeen shows you're on your regular rotation, and Floyd has followed him all year, and he'll get the ball. I said we weren't going to have the Skeens conversation. And I mean that. Let me just say this. The part about it was never, well, if you can't beat Sam Houston State or Oregon State with Ty Floyd and Thatcher Hurd, then you weren't going to win the regional anyway. That was never, at least not my argument with it. I went through my whole, if you really want me to rehash it, go back and listen to the show. It was the first segment. Ty Floyd is more than capable of going out there and winning and pitching well and LSU winning this game. More than capable. It was never about that for me. What he's done the last month of the year, really dating back to Ole Miss, so a little bit more than a month, he's looked like the starting pitcher, sans that Bama game, that we all thought he would be preseason. Going into it, when we are like, Floyd's probably going to be in the rotation, we saw what he did to close the year last year, take the next step. So he goes out there. The walks have been great. He's had them in check. Now, if he's facing Oregon State, that's going to be a bit of a challenge because that's a very, 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 very patient ball club. They are 5th in the country as a team in walks drawn. Travis Bazzana has about 59. He's 6th in the country, more walks than strikeouts. Garrett Forster is also over 50 walks on the year. That is a team that fights off pitches. That is a team that forces you into the zone and can take advantage of mistakes. That is something to keep in mind when looking at that matchup. But the walks have been much better for Ty Floyd the last few times out. I'm going to get you an exact number right here momentarily. So while we keep that matchup in mind against Oregon State, we also recognize that, Floyd against Bama with the walks was one thing, but since that start, Ty Floyd has walked 3 in his last 3 starts. He had 1 walk against, he had the 4 walks against Alabama, the 4 walks against Bama, 4 walks against Alabama, 4 walks against Auburn, a lot of Alabama teams. Since then, against State, 1 walk, 10 punch-outs. Against Georgia, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Against A&M, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. That's been the total, change in what you've seen from him. So if that continues, yeah, you feel good about Ty Floyd going out there, getting 7 innings, LSU being in the ballgame. And you should be facing somebody's number 2. What happens after that? A lot of it depends on the game. So the interesting thing today was that Thatcher Hurd warmed up in the bullpen. And while if Thatcher Hurd would have thrown 20 pitches to close out the game and they wouldn't have let Skeens go out there, no, he's not burned for the weekend. You can absolutely bring him back. He could throw 80 pitches, get you through 4 or 5 innings, and that's great. But you still have to piece together the final half of that. And what does it look like after Saturday? Tomorrow is going to be so key for how I feel going into Sunday's game. Because I don't favor the whole staff approach with this team. I just don't. Can LSU's offense go out there and win a slugfest? Sure. We've also seen them get beaten in a slugfest. And whole staff has been the approach of that. I think LSU has enough arms. I don't know if they have enough quality depth. Guys that you can just hand the ball to and count on. Last year, you had more. And it's why you were able to win as many games as you did and make it to a Game 7 in a regional, because you made up for in the bullpen what you lacked starting pitching. Ultimately, it taxed you too thin, and you couldn't get anybody out, and that's why your season came to an end. This year, you don't have that. You've seen them win the slugfest against Alabama 13-11 on a whole staff day. You've seen them lose the slugfest in extra innings to Mississippi State 14-13 on a whole staff day where you blew a 9-run lead. So you've seen both ends of the sword. I'm not as comfortable with that with this club potentially. Now again, after tomorrow, you'll know where you are. You have plenty available tomorrow. I expect to see Thatcher Hurd at some point tomorrow as well. I think it's going to be a tight enough game where that's certainly a possibility. Javen Coleman becomes huge because I think that's the guy you'd feel comfortable running out there to start Game 3 if you have to use Thatcher Hurd tomorrow night. And the question there becomes, is Javen Coleman ready to extend? 65 pitches is the highest he's been. I wanted so badly for him to get a start in the SEC tournament. And it didn't work out. He got some work, and that was important too. But my whole thing was get him a start, and the way they'd been building him up, could you have extended him to 70, 75 pitches, and then for a regional have him 80, 85, maybe he's ready to just go. But that comes into question now, depending on what happens with Hurd tomorrow night. Best case scenario, Ty Floyd gives you 7, you got a nice lead, you throw Guidry or Herring or, Ackenhausen, Cooper, and you still have horses left and you can start Thatcher Hurd. That's going to be your best case scenario against somebody's fourth starter. And that's the game where you really look at LSU potentially putting up the runs. Normally, I'd be like, yeah, the whole staff makes a lot of sense. But the offense that you're going to face, either Oregon State, either Sam Houston State, they can swing with you. Like, they can. So that's where the concern would come in for me there. I don't hate the idea of Hurd out of the bullpen. I've said it a lot. If you've listened to this show this week or you listened to Musso at the Box the past few weeks, I think Hurd is the guy you want to be able to be that swing guy who could start, who could relieve, long relief, close, because he's done all of those things down the stretch and has looked very good doing them, except for the one outing against Mississippi State. So, I was not surprised to see Thatcher Hurd up in the bullpen because he's that swing guy Jay was looking for this postseason. And I've thought that for a couple of weeks now, and we've talked about it for a couple of weeks now. It'll just be very interesting tomorrow because I think if you use him out of the pen tomorrow night, he's relegated to pin Sunday or, God forbid, a game winner take all Game 7 start on Monday. That'll be very interesting to see. But I have no doubt if it's a close game and he thinks Hurd gives him the best chance to win, he's going to go do it. You got to get to 2-0. LSU's in a good spot to do it thanks to a stellar outing from Paul Skeens. And we'll see how the rest of the regional plays out for the Tigers here. One thing's for sure, it couldn't have set up any better for them today. As for Tulane, I do want to say this. I was real curious how they would come out today because, look, they got hot one weekend out of the year. We talked to Corey Glory yesterday and talked about the season, and one thing he said, they were very young. Very, very young. Got gutted in the transfer portal a little bit, and the schedule was difficult, and it just they never really could ever get their feet underneath them with the youth. And you saw that late in the game today when they were parading in freshmen out of the bullpen who struggled to find the strike zone and ended up walking in the 7th run of the ball game. But they came out and competed really hard. And you might say, well, of course they were going to, but that's not necessarily always a guarantee when you've had a season like they've had. When you went into your conference tournament, you were 15-39 at that point, and you had gotten run ruled twice in your previous weekend by Memphis to close regular season, and you get hot for that 1 week. It's fair to say you can say all the right things. You can, look and do all the right things. When you've had that type of year and you get hot for that 1 week, it's fair to ask, okay, did they just peak? Like, did they just expend their last bit of energy? They didn't, man. They came out today and they played hard. They played their butts off, and it was. I mean, it made for a competitive game. I mean, they happened to run up against one of the, be sent to one of the best teams in the country. But I now have no doubt Tulane's going to come out tomorrow at 2:00 against either Oregon State, against Sam Houston, and they're going to play their butts off. That team seems to have turned the corner a little bit. That's the question, right? Is it okay? You peaked your 1 week into the season. Now they kind of fold back into the team that was 15-39 before the conference tournament, or have they started to find strides under Jay Ullman late in the year with the youth growing up? And I think it's more of that. So I'm expecting Tulane to play a really, really tight game with whomever they match up with, Oregon State or Sam Houston State tomorrow at the box. All right, we're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. We'll close out Friday's AFR with a thumbnail on that game. We've talked about both teams, heard from people who cover both teams this week. So we'll give you a thumbnail on what we think might go down. Hopefully we have a lineup from at least one of them, preferably Oregon State, so we can see who they're starting. But we'll figure that out on the other half of this break to close out the week here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. So I mentioned this past Saturday we were out by the pool all day. Naturally, we had some friends come over, and you just did a pool day. And naturally, we had to have the outside looking good. So we went to Clegg's. Erica bought a whole bunch of flowers, put them in the patio pots all over the outside, some by the pool, one by the water feature on the pool, all that sort of stuff. We had to get some wasp spray and some wasp nests outside. So naturally got that, of course. Clegg's, partner of True Value Hardware Store. You get anything that you find at a True Value Hardware Store, you also get at Clegg's. We also got the mosquito barriers that I tell you about all the time. It's so easy. It's called Aeon, AION. Same product I've told you about forever, just new name. Just go to Clegg's and say, "Where's the mosquito thing Moscona talks about?" They'll know. Fill it up with water, shake it up, hang it on your property line. Done with mosquitoes for 90 days at a time. You can get it all at Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations. Buy local, shop local. Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, Oregon State and Sam Houston State both have not posted their lineups yet because obviously they hate me. So we're just going to go with the hypothesis for right now and what we were told earlier in the week when Mitch Canham on Tuesday asked about, well, I should say he first said, Jacob Kamat's out for the regional and Jordan Hunter out for the regional. And the follow-up was, okay, what do you do starting-wise? And his exact quote was, Sellers game 1. So we're going to go with that unless they post a lineup here in the final, 4.5 minutes that we're on air so we can confirm it. For what it's worth, their latest tweet, they're in the batting cages at LSU taking BP. So, stay hot, Oregon State. Or don't lose to Sam Houston. That'd be preferred. But we'll go with Sellers. And if LSU's missing out on Sellers, that's a good thing. He's a 101 strikeout guy. He's best way to describe Trent Sellers is better than the numbers indicate. The record's not going to blow you away. I think it's 6-5. The ERA is north of 5, but the walks are low in 80-plus innings, and it's a 101 strikeout guy. He's their best and most capable arm left. Now, the interesting part of that is okay, let's say Oregon State does win. Who might LSU see? I would assume Ben Ferrer. Ben Ferrer. Ben Ferrer is who I would assume. And who's Bailey? Not important. And he is a veteran arm. Slider can be absolute wipeout at times from Ferrer. It is his out pitch 100%. Fastball is going to be into the low 90s. Senior pitcher was a major part of their run to the Super Regionals last year, so he's more than capable of tearing it up if given the opportunity in a winner's bracket game against LSU. For Sam Houston State, I would imagine they're going to go with their number one, Atkinson. That leaves Stephen Beard to potentially face LSU. It would be a crafty lefty in Stephen Beard, which I know makes many uneasy. He's not anywhere near overpowered. I think he's got about 59 strikeouts on the year and 80 innings. It's a lot of contact. The thing is, the contact has found open space on him. Opponents are hitting 290 off of Beard on the season. What's going to be important tonight in this game, Hunt mentioned it a little bit when he was in here with me for the first hour, that you want to get Ryan Brown into the game if you're an LSU fan from an Oregon State standpoint. He's their closer. He's been really good all year. Maybe slipped up a little bit the last couple times. You want to get that guy in. Oregon State's bullpen throughout the season has been really good. They struggled in the conference tournament. They gave up 27 runs. And I say the bullpen did because neither Kamatz nor Sellers started. So it was just all bullpen for them, and they gave up 27 runs. That was a little bit out of character for them on the season. You get Ryan Brown in, have him throw some pitches. Maybe he's unavailable against LSU. Sam Houston State's got 3 horses in their pen. You want to get those guys in there as well. Okay? Alex Magers, Chandler David, and Davis. Their closer, Davis. Those are their horses. After that, it's a lot of ERAs north of 5.5 and 6 in that bullpen. You can get some of those guys in there, and that lends better. Those are things to watch in that ball game. I think Oregon State gets the win. I mean, we're hoping it's Sam Houston State. I expect a lot of offense in this ball game. 2 teams that hit the ball very, very well. But ultimately, I do think Oregon State wins a close game here tonight against Sam Houston State, and will match up with LSU and Ty Floyd in the winner's bracket on Saturday night at 8 p.m. That's where we're going to leave you, right there. We'll be back on Monday. Matt specifically will be back on Monday after a long vacation, and he'll recap the Baton Rouge Regional. He will no doubt have thoughts on the SEC scheduling formula. That is something I'm sure many are looking forward to hearing. We've talked about it a lot this week, but Matt will come in hot there, and it's the Saints' last week of OTA, so it's going to be a jam-packed week here on AFR, and hopefully we kick it off talking about LSU being 2 wins away from Omaha and heading to a super regional in the box. That is the ultimate goal. That's it for me. Thank you all for hanging out this entire week. It's been a lot of fun filling in, hosting the show. Thank you to Grant for filling in for me. Thank you to Paul O'Neill for all his help as well. Be here Monday.
AFR.
Let me remind you about Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com, reliefwindows.com. I've talked about Relief Windows now here since 2015, and I love endorsing them and telling you about how great a company they are and great people that Brandon and Adrian Holly are, and every single measure tech and installer that may come to your house, how you can trust them and how they do exceptional work, how they've done work in my house. One thing we never talk about is price. And with Relief Windows, they of course sell a premium product and they do a premium service and a premium job, and it's awesome. But they do offer discounts as well. So I would always encourage you, when you call Relief Windows to ask about those discounts. Like, for example, if you buy an entry door and windows at the same time, they'll give you a 10% discount. So there's a lot of those things that are there as well. So I would always recommend, when you give Relief Windows a call, ask them. It's always worth giving them a shout at Relief Windows. 288-8138, 288-8138 for Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, or NOLAFlooring.com.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes